All right, welcome in, everybody. We are live, the Friday night edition of the REMINGTOM pod. We've got March Madness on in the background. March Madness is here. Very, very exciting. A lot of the games on right now. We're kind of at the half. So we got Iowa versus Clemson. Iowa was looking good there for a second, but Clemson is starting to close in with less than 5 minutes. Less than 5 minutes, they've got it to 5 points. So we've officially, are in that clutch time range, I guess, for the statistics. We'll have to see if I was able to close this out. It's been the last minutes of the fourth quarters. Anyway, the last minutes of the second half that has been a struggle for them to close out some of these games. They might have actually pulled off a couple of others. They've had a couple of close games against Michigan that they just kind of literally fumbled some of the opportunities at the end of the games, and it just seems like maybe if like we're saying, to clean up the execution there, they would maybe actually secure some of these wins. So maybe the lead will help them out in this case. But hey, if this actually becomes a reason why they're not able to advance in the tournament, that'd be tough. They're missing free throws. Hey, we need them to win. This is one of the few picks we could actually get right for our bracket. We would have our official bracket pulled up in the background, but it's too brutal. It is what it is. Or I guess we would have our own bracket pulled up in the background. We have the official bracket instead because ours is not good. We haven't even actually checked it today. It is what it is. There's no use. It was so bad yesterday that there's no recovery. There's no recovery. We do have, I think the only teams left in our bracket are our final four teams. So that is good. I'm trying to do a quick remember. Maybe the Elite, I think, the Elite Eight is doing okay so far. I mean, we can get into the bracket. Again, it's been an amazing tournament so far. Fun to watch. Like I said, always exciting. Actually, we do have to start real quick with a shout out to the ladies bracket as well, too. Obviously, we can't forget. But somebody at work today, obviously one of the few joys, at work is working during March Madness season where you have you have a real excuse, especially at a restaurant, bar setting a little bit. You do have the excuse to have basketball on all of the TVs because, again, it is March Madness. And I mean, most of the time in general, in those public settings, it is what it is. Sports, are going to be, playing there a little bit easy. We're not breaking news, but going to be playing there a little bit easier than most things. But regardless, you do have a direct, basketball related excuse to, throw those up on the TV there. And I guess, so one of the bartenders they were doing the right thing. They were trying to help out. It is what it is. But they went to ESPN. I mean, as I guess you would, as maybe obviously a light sports fan. Again, we're not calling them out. We're just saying, they were trying to help. They're like, let me throw on some basketball on the TV. Let me get to ESPN. It is what it is. I'm like, I got this. Trust me. We got everything set correctly. And, obviously, ESPN right now, again, shout out, it's got the ladies tournament. So we're not against having the ladies tournament on. But what happened was when they changed the channel, they also changed, another one, just the remote, just whip it, hey, whoa, whip it around. They were, sometimes, obviously, it can hit multiple TVs at the same time. Ayo. But it changed one to ESPN, then one over to Divorce Court. So, again, nothing wrong with Divorce Court as well, too. But it's like, it's March Madness time. We might as well just, we got to make sure, like we're saying, we got to have the TVs locked and loaded with the March Madness basketball. So we went to change the Divorce Court one, and I was like, well, since we're changing the Divorce Court one, we'll just make it mostly for continuity reasons. For continuity reasons, you have the 4 games going for the men's bracket. You can have the 4 games on the 4 TV. It works out that we can go 4 for 4 at work. But then, now our boss just thinks we're a misogynist because we were switching off the ladies bracket. It is what it is. So we shout out the ladies bracket. For continuity's sake. Next year, all ladies games at the restaurant. It is what it is. We're making the announcement now, so we'll make up for it. It is what it is. I guess shout out like we're saying, but to focus on the men's bracket for tonight. It is what it is. But like we're saying, some of our good teams in our brackets, the later teams advancing, are still alive. But for the most part, like it has been a pretty. You can't necessarily say drama-free March Madness because there have been those, March Madness-y moments. Shout out Kentucky with, probably the buzzer beater, the one like actual shot at the buzzer at this point, to tie it and send it to overtime. But for the most part, again, a lot of the high seeds have basically taken care of business. And then once you get, of course, into like the 7-10, the 8-12, I don't really know if you can get upset in terms of the seeds. In terms of the seeds, you can't get upset. Of course, in terms of obviously the matchup, maybe the teams, it'd be a little weird if, there was like a record situation with an 8-9 where one of them was way better. But regardless, I guess you, again, could in theory get it upset if a line was crazy or something like that. But for the most part, again, 8-9, 7-10s. Yeah, I would even say 6 and 11s is getting a little sketchy. I mean, in the past as well, too, there has been that history of 5-12. So if we're being realistic, I would say, again, not ever, again, you could have some better teams like maybe a 13 versus a 4, I don't know, back in the day or something. But regardless, I would say, the real upsets would be like the 1 through the 4 seeds. And then the 5-12 would count, but with like that little bit of like, this is like a historical, look out for this. And again, it is how they seed it as well, too. With like a 5 seed, maybe, a little bit of like a more mid-power 5 team, with the 12 seed being a stronger obviously non-power 5 team. So again, it's like upset versus what is actually, who is actually the better team. But it is, this year it has been a pretty clean tournament, like we're saying, for the most part, for those upper seeds. You do have Vanderbilt getting the win over North Carolina. VCU. Did Vanderbilt did get? They were a 5, so I guess they were supposed to win. VCU. We're getting our gold schools that start with a V mixed up. Shout out, but VCU got the win over North Carolina as the 11 seed, and then High Point over Wisconsin as the 5-12 matchup as well, too. Again, legitimate upsets. We're not writing them off. You have to give them their credit there. Kennesaw State kind of matching against, against Seattle too. Like there was dramatic games, but for the most part, just looking at on paper, it has been a pretty, fair. I guess Texas versus BYU as well too, but BYU maybe had an injury as well. I know North Carolina has definitely had some injuries, so that was not necessarily even like, okay, here, do we have a line for this game? I'm not going to say that VCU was favored, but I don't think that, North Carolina was overwhelmingly picked going into the game. Minus a point and a half going into the game. So basically just giving them the respect of being the higher seed. And again, VCU had a better record as well, too. So that is one of those, smaller school might actually be a little bit of a better team type of situation. So you do have to give them credit for, again, in the tournament sense, that is a legitimate tournament upset there. But High Point over Wisconsin as well, too. Again, the 5-12s, like we're saying, obviously there is a history there. But there's always that one 5-12 matchup as well, too, that feels like, again, it's like everybody picks them and then it just happens. I remember one year, do we have to go back and check it? Maybe Middle Tennessee State ended up losing that game. We might have to fact check ourselves here. I'm not sure, but I remember just like Middle Tennessee State was a 5-12 one year, and I guess we'll go basketball reference. And everybody was like, oh yeah, they're gonna win that 5 seed matchup easily. And then I want to say they went out there and like actually ended up winning. I mean, again, shout out, but it's just like, oh yeah, they're better than that team as a 12 seed. And it was like that was one of those years. It was like, oh yeah, I guess the seeding is not just like they blindly rank, every team in Division 1, 1 through 256 in like an FPI sort of sense, and then seed it, based off FPI. There is a little bit of a, the conference politics obviously at play. But here, let's see if we can get a little tournament history. Middle Tennessee State 17-10 this year. We need to get Middle Tennessee State back in the tournament. We need to get what are we saying? Florida Gulf Coast back in the tournament. I was walking around the restaurant today, think about Florida Gulf Coast. Hey yo, it is what it is. But it's lost in the second. 16-17. They were the 12 seed, so they did. Who did they ended up getting the win over that? Butler. Oh, Butler lost in the second. Oh, I guess they call it the second round because. Oh, this is the game that they lost. Hey, okay, so we need to go back to the game that they won. I was gonna say, wait a second. Did they call it the second round because that first round is those first 4 play-in games, but round of 64. I guess technically they do have a list. But Minnesota was the 5 seed that ended up getting the win over that year. I don't know if Minnesota has had injuries as well, again, to make a sort of excuse. But I mean, yeah, you see the records as well too. Middle Tennessee State that year, unfair. 31-4. Minnesota 24. It would 10. Everybody was just like, Minnesota doesn't stand a chance. Hey, yo. I guess, yeah, in the Vegas line, Middle Tennessee State was favored -1.5. Again, this game really stood out. It's like, can we even call this an upset? This doesn't even count. Like, everybody, the Vegas line is Middle Tennessee State's literally favored. Like, Minnesota would have been the upset in this game. So I guess, again, not to discredit the great performance from Middle Tennessee State. Our guy, Giddy Potts. Hey, yo, you forget about Giddy Potts back in the day. But Reggie Upshaw Jr. as well, too. Yeah, he was balling. Shout out. So, again, Amir Coffey on this Minnesota team. I guess, was Minnesota, what was the team Colin Sexton played? The 3v5 game. I feel like that was, for some reason, I feel like he was playing against Amir Coffey. I don't know if we need to go double check that as well. Fact check that. We're just going to put that out there as a myth. Amir Coffey was in that game as well. But, yeah, shout out Middle Tennessee State. So high point was a little bit the Middle Tennessee State this year. Again, same situation. Look at the record. 31-4, 24-11 for Wisconsin. And Wisconsin did compete against Michigan in the Big Ten tournament. So they were, a little bit more heavily favored, 10.5 point favorites for Wisconsin. So, just, I guess, a little impressive as well, too, that high point would have been covering at the end of that game. What was do we have like an FPI percentage as well, too? I don't know. But, yeah, regardless, again, high point was able to pull off that tournament upset. But regardless, scanning through, we are looking pretty great. Again, 7-10, shout out Texas A&M versus St. Mary's. You do get the double-digit listing, I guess, in the bracket, but I don't know if it technically goes into upset territory there. So I feel like, and we were kind of eyeing the Michigan St. Louis. We're like, hey, hopefully our guys are not on upset watch for that game. But, maybe there's some drama with like the 1 seed, 2 seed in the second rounds. Because I do think that the 1-9 sort of seeding differential there does matter. 2-7, we're still in upset territory. Again, we go 4-5s. I guess 3-6 maybe is upset territory as well. But, that's starting to get pretty close at that point. Then, again, 4-5 is basically the same team in theory. But, yeah, I guess, obviously shout out for everybody taking care of business. And we could go back and compare the tournament last year. I know that we would not be breaking news by saying that, is the transfer portal ruining college basketball, whatever. I think ruining would be a strong use of the word. I mean, again, there's probably, is the transfer portal right? Is there reasons as to, again, sort of the way it's being used? Obviously, just the greater sort of, do you say lawlessness of college basketball? I don't know. But regardless, again, what's ultimately changed in college basketball at the end of the day? I guess college football, of course, with Indiana winning has been like the major thing. We haven't had the Indiana winning, I guess, of college basketball yet, or even the Indiana, the school as well, too. Am I mistaken? Is there a school that is really, I guess, you don't want to say, obviously every school's benefited from NIL. Arkansas? Maybe Arkansas, but again, Arkansas has been good in the past. I guess no disrespect to Indiana, but it's part of the miracle story. I guess you don't want to say every team in the, before that in the history of Indiana football is, has to be bad to make the one team really, really good. It's like this amazing miracle because all these other teams sucked, but it is what it is. It is what it is. So I guess, Arkansas has been in the past, college basketball-wise, more successful than Indiana has in college football. It just is what it is. I guess Alabama, maybe in college basketball, them being they have definitely been a more prominent basketball program over the last handful of years, for sure. I mean, shout out to Nate Oates for turning that program around. I mean, again, to be like a real contender, they haven't, again, like secured a national title yet, and they haven't quite necessarily, I guess they're a 1, 2, 3 again, obviously. They're a really, really great team. They haven't quite been the best. I guess, again, because Indiana was the best team and they went on to win the national title. So if Alabama had won the national title the year that they had been that one seed, then they would have had those similar storylines. But they lost in the regional semifinal. Hey, is that Elite Eight that year? So, is that a little early? I don't know. But, yeah, before that, I guess, a 9 overall in the AP poll. I guess, I don't know. Doesn't look like they had necessarily like crazy tournament runs. Regional final in 2003, 2004, first round, regional semi. I mean, yeah, they didn't really have how many Final Fours? They one Final Four in the history of the program. So again, they have been maybe, like we're saying, a little bit more. I guess we were saying Arkansas, but Alabama maybe even still a little bit more competent. I guess we'd have to go back and look at Indiana's bowl record. And, again, Indiana's had some, Michael Penix, they've had some good players. Hey, yo. Wimp Sanderson? Who is Wimp Sanderson? Hey, yo. Shout out to Wimp Sanderson. He was in the tournament almost every year. So he was, I guess a good coach for Alabama there. But, again, Nate Oates bringing them to that more consistent top 10 level team is definitely a little bit of a program turnaround as well, too. And I guess you could say, Indiana, it's a little... There's some comparisons there because Indiana could be for basketball what Alabama is for football. I don't think that's necessarily true, recently. I mean, Indiana's had good basketball programs for sure. And it still definitely carries, that weight of like being like a basketball state. Like, hey, the people in the state of Indiana just love basketball. But again, in terms of the Indiana Hoosiers basketball team, it just has not been their basketball team in the basketball state has not been as competitive as Alabama, the football team, and they're in the football state there. So, but again, there is historically some, I guess, comparisons of it being the football school versus the basketball school, and them elevating there as well too. But again, for the most part, I guess we haven't seen that crazy NIL or that crazy coach push as well too. I mean, it's NIL, but Signetti as well too. Again, obviously, being able to maximize that team is definitely pretty important. But yeah, like we're saying, definitely a lot of chalk picks this year. So to compare it actually to last year, and look, I mean, the East was all the single-digit seeds. One in the East. Yeah, I guess like we're saying, the 5-12 and that one wasn't even really close. VCU versus BYU. So I guess some guys returning maybe, helping them, in the tournament have some more success anyways. And Robert Morris, I guess, played Alabama close in the first game. Only lost by 9 points as the 2-15. So again, there is drama, but we don't quite have like the match. Oh, McNeese versus Clemson. There we go. We got one double-digit seed advancing from the Midwest region last year. New Mexico has a 10 seed over Marquette in the 7-10 matchup. And I'm just going through the first round as well, too, so I didn't double-check 1 seed losses. In the second round, looks like all of the 1 seeds, I guess all the 1 seeds made the Final Four last year. Am I not mistaken? Yeah, it was four 1 seeds. So who knows if we're headed that way. It wasn't like everybody was necessarily picking it that way. I think it was even a little bit more like looking at the bracket last year, just like, man, I don't really, it really does seem like we could get these 4 1 seeds. And the only reason, again, you weren't necessarily picking that is because just you're like, okay, well, that's not going to happen. Just the odds of us having all the same seed in the brackets. One of these teams is going to lose at some point. And, this year a team like, the two, I just in general, the 2 seeds are strong this year. UConn, what do we got? UConn, Iowa State. I guess we hesitate to mention Purdue. I guess we want to call them a strong team because they did just, of course, win over Michigan in the Big Ten Finals. So I guess Michigan, we don't want Michigan to necessarily lose to a weak team. But regardless, we hesitate to give them credit as well, too. We picked another pick we're going to get wrong in our bracket. Again, maybe a bit of an emotional pick, having filled out our bracket the day that they got the win over our team. And they are almost up 30 in the second half here over Queens. And I did just find out as well, too, that Queens here in the tournament, the 15 seed, shout out, is not from New York. They're from Charlotte. We may have actually looked them up in the past and have learned that. I feel like we have looked them up on the reference in the past, but I still always just think that they're the Queens from New York. Ayo. So we'll just, imagine just a bunch of New York accent guys down 30 points trying to rally the team. It is what it is. But yeah, they're not necessarily helping out our upset pick there. So I hate to say it as well too. I hate to say it, but there is one final upset potential game that could happen. St. John's versus Northern Iowa. Before we started recording, that game hadn't started yet, and I was looking at the bracket, eyeing it, seeing all of the, the high seeds win, and I'm like, okay, is Northern Iowa, St. John's, is that just going to be like a random upset game there? But St. John's is cruising at this point as well, too. So we've got Kansas versus Cal Baptist, the 4 versus 13 in the final CBS game of the night. We hate to say that our guy Sam is going to have to be on upset watch, but just again, if tournament math, maybe, I guess, judging by last year, maybe we don't have to have one more upset. I don't know. But it just seems like, okay, if we need a March, again, what is our March Madness moment? Because, and I guess, again, double checking, like, was McNeese versus Clemson? Do we put that in the March Madness moment? I guess there's March Madness tier, and then there's Middle Tennessee State tier, which is like, yes, on paper it looks like an upset, but it's not really an upset. So, High Point, is it March Madness or is it Middle Tennessee State? It's Middle Tennessee State, and it's respect because, they're a good team. I guess we did look at the line there, so there was that, in there. Maybe it is March Madness. I don't know. But what was the other one? VCU versus North Carolina. That's definitely Middle Tennessee State. It is what it is. Like we said, North Carolina was -1.5 in that game, so right on the line there for them being, for VCU being the favorite in that one. And yeah, those are the only, like we're saying, the only non-10. I guess. Texas is the 11 here. What was the Texas BYU line? Because Dembasta was crazy in that game, but again, I think they might have been missing a player. BYU -2.5 in that game. So to going into the game. So again, favored, 3 wins better on the season, but it is close. I think it goes into Middle Tennessee State, even though it is a 6-11. So we've only had one half a March Madness moment with High Point getting the win over Wisconsin. I guess, like we're saying, Colorado State versus Memphis. Was this a heavily picked game last year? Can we double check the line on this one? Colorado State versus Memphis line. Let's see if do we trust the Google AI to give us an accurate remembering of the line? I don't know. We'll just have to go with it. It said it's according to the Google AI. Again, who knows if we can trust it, but the Google AI says last year, I guess, does it have an article? Hey, yo, here we go. CBS Sports. We don't have to trust the Google AI. We can go straight to the source. Hopefully, Jimmy Kaler. Hey, yo, this might be a Google AI name. Shout out. I mean, real guy, call in, obviously, shout out. We love your work, but Jimmy Kaler? Hey, yo, sounds like some kind of Kimmel alias that he might use. But what's it say here? We're looking just, I guess, for the line of the game. We don't have to, shout out to the writer. But Colorado State was the favorite, -1.5. So that's not even a March Madness moment as well. They got the 8-point win. They covered their own line in that game. Drake versus Missouri. Okay, here we go. We might find this one. And obviously the Drake coach moving on to coach Iowa. Ayo, got to lock in. Up 5 right now with 16 seconds. How are they going to lose this game? But I think Drake as well last year. The school, not the rapper. Ayo, maybe not Drake's finest year in 20. I guess 2024 was the year of the beat. 2025 was like it was a fine year for Drake. Couple singles, a couple live streams, couple singles. Nothing too crazy. Obviously setting himself up for 20. Drake, and shout out. Maybe it's a good sign that time has moved on. We typed in Drake versus, or it just knows that it's March. Drake versus. It gives us Drake versus Missouri, Texas Tech, Missouri, Murray State, UNI. All these. Oh, here we go. Drake versus Kendrick is the 9th option. The 7th, 8th, 9th. Down here a little bit. Drake versus Dragon. Hey, yo, that might be that might go back to some of the scandal from back a couple years from that time as well too. But what do we got? Drake versus Missouri line from 2025 tournament. Missouri is this is the Google AI. I know what year it is. Missouri is a 5.5 to 6.5 point favorite versus Drake. So I guess they were, and here we go. We can double check again here via the article. Does Brant Sutton sound real enough for us? I don't know. Yeah, Missouri versus Drake, Missouri 5.5. So it's bordering on March Madness, but it's close to Middle Tennessee State. That's a real test. We might have to put that one up to the committee. So wait, we had to check what McNeese State versus Clemson. That one, and I guess what are we ruining the joy of March Madness? But we're also I think you just got to give credit to a good team, even if they're a smaller university as well. So yeah, McNeese versus Clemson line. Clemson was 7.5. So yeah, that is starting to get to. I guess we're gonna say Clemson at 7.5 is March Madness, but Wisconsin at 10.5 is Middle Tennessee State. Because I think it probably was getting close to like equal volume of people picking the game, percentage wise as well too. But and this year they did have that. It was literally giving you the number of people that was picking the games on the bracket. So I don't know if we can check that here real quick and see what it was looking like. It doesn't want to even give us the link to the bracket challenge. It's like don't look. It's not even worth it. It's just toast at this point. Oh, here we go. Check your men's bracket, sad face. Hey, yo. Ranked. Hey, chat, we're in the top 23 million. We did it. We finally did it. It is what it is. What are we looking for here? Hey, yo, we're just so concerned with the fact that our bracket is bad. No, here we go. There's 3 correct picks in a row at one point. Hey, yo. We love to see it. We love to see it. Oh, we were looking for number of picks for Wisconsin High Point. That's what it was. So let's see. And of course we picked Oh wait, I thought we picked High Point. Hey, yo. Wait a second. Did we? Oh, I guess we did pick Wisconsin. It is what it is. We changed. See, we went again. Even in the ones that we thought we could get right, we ended up going against ourselves. It is what it is. So I guess we can't go back and see how many people actually picked the game, unfortunately. But we know at least one did. We did. Hey, yo. And we got that wrong. So how many did we get right here? It's not even... it's going to take too long to count our misses. Hey, yo. Points game. Points lost. Oh, points lost. I guess our points lost is a little lower right now. Points unplayed, obviously, in the first round. The points... You get more points, for the picks later. So that could help us. I don't know. I guess... Why did we pick South... I guess South Florida was close over Louisville, so we do have to not feel too bad about that one. Yeah, we had South Florida winning. I guess we had Wisconsin winning. I don't know why we switched that one. Hey, yo, I'm disgusted with myself. We did have BYU winning. I don't feel bad about that the way Dembasta played. Hey, yo, so maybe today was okay, chat. Hey, yo, maybe today we bounced back. And I guess it's given us more our picks for the second round. We had, well, and we also had South Florida over Michigan State because we can't pick Michigan State to win too many games. It is what it is. So, I guess it's given us, we don't have, so all of our Sweet 16 teams, except for, we got 14 of our 16 Sweet 16 still in. And I guess, like we're saying, pretty even across the board so far in the matchup. So we're still looking okay for that, I would say. But yeah, I think avoidable as well too. Looking back at the ones we got wrong in terms of, I guess we don't obviously know the Sweet 16 yet. Like we're saying, that could be the drama that is the March Madness part of it. But Iowa does get the win, so we did get that one right. I guess for them advancing, and we do have them. Oh, did we pick Florida to win over Iowa? I guess we did. See, I thought I picked Iowa to win over Florida. I thought that was going to be one of our, again, March Madness drama moments, but second round be the one because we can't pick Michigan to be the 1-9 matchup or the 1-8 matchup that loses. But I guess we were picking on Florida. It is what it is, and Iowa is a really good team as well too. So. Again, if they can execute at the end of games, they can potentially, hang with a lot of teams in the nation. And I would say that would be one of the scarier 8 through 10 teams, maybe 7 through 10 teams that you could get matched up with if they're playing their best. But who knows? Maybe Duke is at risk in round 2 with the way they were looking in round 1. Of course, Siena was winning a large part of that game. And that game was on a little inside baseball, was on when we were maybe 4 or 5 minutes left in the second half when we were getting off work. Hey, yeah, whoa. So when we were driving home and stuff, by the time I got home, I was looking for the game on TV again, and I was like, looking for the game on TV. Sound like some of the old people over there. We were trying to fire the game back up, and it's like, oh no, we missed the end of it. I didn't even know if Duke won. That's again how close it was, and the type of sort of, Duke missing open shots and letting Siena hang in there. There was a couple parts where I looked up, and Duke had a couple of offensive rebounds. I say Cam Boozer has 13, Evans with 10 in this game. So they out-rebounded them 43-31, and they just kept kicking it out for 3, and it was like brick. 19% from 3, 5 for 26 on the game. So, you just kind of even that out a little bit, and maybe you're back on track for winning in the tournament. Of course, their defense, I think, is top 4 in the nation or something like that. So, they do have that sort of side of the basketball to buckle down and be able to win games defensively as well. I mean, again, clearly they can win games. Not playing well offensively. Again, it's against a 16 seed who didn't, I guess you look at the numbers as well, they didn't necessarily have a great day themselves. 35% from 3, but 38% from the field for Siena. So just, again, kind of Duke letting them hang around in this one. Boozer, 22. Cam Boozer, 22, 13 points, 3 assists. And, his brother with 19 points, 9 for 16 from the field, with kind of the more efficient offensive game anyways in that one. And they did, of course, have a guard injury and a center injury. So, again, a 116, even with, Virginia lost to UMBC that one year, and they didn't have DeAndre Hunter. It doesn't matter. A 116 is still going to be a major upset regardless. But in terms of them, again, having a good run in the tournament, it is a little bit of a watch now with them having the acceptable performances. Of course, again, their lineup is compromised a little bit. And with St. John's looking pretty good so far, that could be the scary matchup maybe in the Sweet 16 if they're able to get past TCU. Ohio State, again, can play really, really well when they're playing their best. So a win over them is definitely impressive. I'm sure TCU can hang with Duke, but I don't know if TCU has the offensive, you don't want to say offensive excellence, but I don't know if they, in Ohio State has Bryce Thornton and a couple guys, but Thornton mainly, when he's at his best, of course, is a bucket getter that can get you any shot at the end of games. But, I don't know if TCU, I guess, then again, we just don't know TCU that well, but I don't know if they have the player to go toe-to-toe with Duke, or Cam Boozer, if he gets to cooking in the next game. And just not settling for 3 as well, too. Again, what was his 3-point in this? I want to say it was 4 for 11 when I was looking at that, but 4 for 11 from the field, 1 for 5 from 3. So I guess not too crazy there, but that was a tough one. And we've been kind of team Boozer all year for number 1 pick in the draft, but this was this might have been a big Dembasta round 1. Pause. It is what it is. And again, I thought maybe Dembasta could, be a sneaky, just have a crazy tournament and get BYU to the Sweet 16, maybe get a win over Gonzaga. And again, he did have a crazy tournament. Unfortunately, Texas was just able to win the game. But he had 35, 11 for 25 at the field, 12 for 12 from the free throw line. He has had that free throw merchant label a little bit in, his college season here. But you do have to give him credit again for getting buckets. Is this like the Bam Adebayo award for shots and free throws stat line of the tournament? It is what it is, but Bam Adebayo knows how difficult it is to get 35, on 12 free throws. He's been there. So, obviously if Dembasta is the next Bam, see, I do think that would be, in some ways, that would be a real win for Dembasta, because I think that would mean that he would be committing to some of the other things on the court that Bam is so great at. And then if he is if he is that version of the player with the version of the offensive player that he is now. I mean, again, Bam could get 83, so I guess Bam is the second best offensive player of all time. But on paper, I would still think that Dembasta's offensive skill set is, as a scorer anyways, is better than Bam's as a scorer, because I think they are kind of similar build. Again, Bam a little bit more. you would have said before he's more of like a non-scoring five. Rebounding, shot blocking, good playmaking at the top of the key, can still get you a bucket, but maybe, again, you would have said before he's not a guy that you would have thought of as like, I'm going to throw it to Bam and he's just going to get his shots at the end of the game. And to be honest, no disrespect to Bam. Bam, call in and defend yourself at any moment. Make no mistake, we would love Bam to call in. Like we said, Bam's one of our favorite players, but I still don't know if we would necessarily say that Bam is like a go-to scorer in the NBA. It is what it is. Maybe score. I guess. Hey, I was gonna. We were gonna chat. We can't start talking smack for Wemby. That's not fair. We can't make Wemby like our. Well, he is, I guess, our tall NBA favorite player. But we can't make him like our tall NBA best friend that's gonna just like win all these arguments for us when we start talking smack for him. We can't be like Bam drop 83 against Wemby and then it's real because now he's like, okay, I'm extra motivated to go out there and cook Wemby. And Bam is an NBA player. He could still, he's a man. He could drop 40. Hey, he could still have a great scoring output on Wemby. I mean, Wemby's giving up 70 to Embiid, so it's not impossible. So again, I don't know if we want to start talking smack to Bam. And Alex Sarr was out there, so that is something. I know that we hate to bring it up for our former Michigan man. Maybe we'll tread very lightly. Obviously, it's respect to the great legend, rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. But Jalen Rose was a good NBA player. Was actually a really, really, really good NBA player. Could definitely give you 20 a game at the best moments of his career. And still, he got torched by Kobe one night. It is what it is. It happens. Again, I guess, is Sarr getting torched by Bam? Like Jalen Rose getting torched by Kobe? I don't know, but I guess it happens. If you imagine if the refs had called 40 free throws for Kobe in that game, Kobe literally would have gotten, if Kobe, do we have to ask the chat GPT, if Kobe had played in 2026, would Kobe have scored 100? He might have. Do we have to go back and double check the free throw total in that game? If it's in the 30s, then I guess it's close enough, do you say? But I want to say it might have been 20 something. It might have been. Did he have half as many free throws and score twice as many points? So, or not twice as many points, but score more points on half the free throws. We'll double check here. I want to say 05-06, the 35-point season, or not. It wasn't 06-07. It was 06. But I want to say 05-06, 27 shots a game that year. Hey, it is what it is. But free throws, per game, I guess it loaded just in time. We couldn't see it. So, points, 81. It's going to stand out. There it is. Yeah, 33 twos, 20 free throws. Yeah, 20 free throws. So if he has the extra, did Bam make 36 free throws in that game? Jesus. So he literally would have gotten to 100. He literally would have gotten to 100 points. If Kobe Bryant would have, and that's, I'm not trying to say if, again, Kobe obviously, regardless, rest in peace, he would have been retired in 2026. He was, retired back then. But, again, if Kobe, just like saying, if any hypothetical player was playing today, if Kobe was playing in 2026, if 05-06 Kobe was playing in 2025, 2026, he might score 100 points. He legitimately might score 100 points. I know that if we asked the GPT, we could just cook up a case. It is what it is. But what team? I mean, it could be the Wizards. Was Bub Carrington's going to stop him? Who's stopping Kobe in 2026 on the Wizards? Maybe it says that, chat, I forgot about our Smoke a Pack rankings. We need to go back to that. It is what it is. If you want to know what the Smoke a Pack rankings is, pause, I don't know. But I guess go check out one of the recent live streams. Kurt Russell versus Jason Statham versus, I forget who was in there, Lawrence Fishburne? I don't know. But what do we say? If 05-06 Kobe was playing in 25, 26, would he score 100? And I think, or yeah, 100. And I think you could say, well, if Will was playing today, would he get more points? You know, if you're going to give Kobe more points, would you give Will more points? I think, you know, you go back and dissect the film. I think he would get less points here in a game. We have to clarify. Could he score 100 points in a game? I think Will, if you adjust for inflation in 25, 20, 26, that's what we're really trying to do. We're trying to adjust for points inflation. Ayo, if Kobe would if you drop 20, he would have a real shot at 100, but it would be okay. Yeah, we can't expect it regularly, but maybe one time it could potentially happen. That version of Kobe dropped 81, multiple 50-point wins. Gave him the modern green light plus heliocentric offense, pushing 40 to 50 field goal attempts, plus 15 free throw attempts. So yeah, see, we're saying up the free throw attempts and the threes as well too. But in this game, like we're saying, I think he was okay. Where did that go? 7 for 13 is a pretty, you know, that's just a normal NBA game, honestly. I think he goes 7 for 13. I mean, yeah, he's 5 for 11 and scores 35. The other night, 8 for 15 from 2 in that one. Not 21 for 33 from 2, but that's crazy. You know, 63% from 2 is, you know, just a great game. It's 60+% is just a great game in general. It is what it is. So it doesn't matter if it's 6 or 32 shots, you know. It's still going to be good of it. Why it's still difficult. Defenses would trap him instantly. Load management, if he gets to 80 points, you know, they take him out. But they foul intentionally. So, see, and again, this simulation's only giving him 24 to 28 free throw attempts. Or is it saying he's 24 for 28? I think 24. So it's giving him, obviously, crazy amount of two-point attempts, 52, which is what he would need. So wait a second. Let's go back and double-check the Bam. Let's give him the same amount of attempts as Bam. I'm sure it would, you know, give him some, like, historical field goal percentage comparison. So I don't know if, you know, statistically, again, Bam, it's like, okay, project it out. Maybe Bam's more likely. I don't know. But he's now at 20.2 points a game for the season. I guess he did get to 20.4. Not 24, 20.4 points a game in the 2022-2023 season. And he's always been a guy that, you know, me and Sam have always talked about, like, his untapped potential, as an offensive player. But again, it has been that a little bit. Obviously, he has been the number 2 guy behind Jimmy Butler and stuff like that. But the reason that, you know, Norm Powell's performance, I think, was so impactful is because they kind of need that other scorer besides Bam as well, too. You know, Tyler Hero is, you know, kind of supposed to, the best version of Tyler Hero can maybe be another scorer besides Bam. You know, again, is Tyler Hero going to lead the team? I guess is Norm Powell going to lead the team, you know, respectfully, just in terms of the, you know, we believe he can. Obviously, in terms of the NBA conversation, I don't know. But yeah, see, Bam had 43 field goal attempts in this game and 22 three-pointers. So how many three-pointers did they give in the simulation? 14. So Kobe's easily getting to 100. I mean, yeah, Kobe was 7 for 13 in that game. And then, yeah, Bam, only 21 twos in that game. I guess we did say 60% is impressive. So 62% from 2. But then 36 free throws. 36 for 43. So, okay, so wait a second. Let's say, multiple 90-point games. That'd be insane. If Kobe would just, like, imagine he had 92 in one game, 96 in another game. For some reason, I mean, obviously, multiple 90-point games is more than one 100-point game, but multiple 90-point games would feel more impressive. It is what it is. Pause. Just, yes, it would be crazy. It would be crazy. I mean, it would obviously be more impressive than, yes, anything. But still, what if he had... Okay, now we have to remember what the attempts were. Again, 21 two-point attempts. 21 two-point field goals. He had 22 threes? 22... Okay, wait, not makes. We get it 22 field goal attempts, 22 three-point attempts, and 43 free throw attempts. Hey, yo. 43 free throw attempts in a game, what would Kobe produce? And I know, again, we're kind of narrowing it down to that version of the season. So wait a second. 21, 22, 43. Was that his attempts? 22, 21, 43. Yeah, okay. So we have it listed differently, but the 3-point, 2-point there is correct. So let's see what kind of Kobe game would be if he had the same exact attempts that Bam had. Again, using some kind of rounding out of his field goal percentages from back then. Projected total is 83. Oh, okay, chat. So I guess it is what it is. The chat GPT says Bam is just as good as Kobe. Bam is just as good as Kobe. Hey, yo. Wait, but here's the key. With that volume, Kobe could easily swing depending on how hot he is. Pause. If he gets hot, classic Kobe game, 21 for 22, 10 for 22, and 38 for 43. So, yeah, that's 92 points. There we go. That does seem like, again, with that type of volume in a game, if he had 22 twos and 21 twos, 21 twos and 22 threes, hey, yo, this is like a rap lyric. But 43 free throws. Hey, yo, we'll be dropping this freestyle soon. The Bam Adebayo freestyle, 22 threes, 21 twos. Hey, yo, I guess, is it a diss track from the perspective of Kobe? Are we like Drake? We're gonna use AI Kobe to diss Bam Adebayo? Hey, yo. If not, we gave the idea to somebody. We'll not, get the rap gods looking down on us unfavorably for making maneuvers like that. But hey, yo. Maybe it needs to be done. I'm not sure. The community get in the DMs. Let us know. Does the REMINGTOM pod need to drop a Bam Adebayo diss track from the perspective of Kobe? But yeah, 92 does seem realistic. But if he goes from what we just said, the 92, that makeup of those field goal attempts, whatever. If he goes 2 more twos, so 14 of 21 from 2 more threes, and then 2 more free throw attempts as well too. That does get him to over 100. So 14 of 21, he would be over 50% on all the stats. I guess 12 for 21, he's over 50% as well too. But 14 for 21, that'd be in that 60% range. And then 12 for 22 from 3. And then 40 for 43 from the free throw line in a game. Imagine somebody making 40 free throw attempts in a game. I'm assuming Wilt... No, I think Wilt only made 30 in his 100-point game as well, too. Again, he stole, probably countless field goal attempts from his teammates. Rest in peace to the great Wilt Chamberlain. Hey, yo. It is what it is. But, the man just took a lot of things for himself, but took points away from his teammates. It is what it is. We have video evidence of it. But basically, with that shot diet, it says that Kobe could get to 90 pretty realistically. So we need... I guess, AI Kobe versus AI Bam Adebayo in a matchup in 2020. I guess who knows what year that happens. But, we'll see what year the AI showdown goes down for the best scoring performance of all time. And then at the last second, Wilt will swoop in and grab the offensive rebound and put in the 84th shot. And Wilt will all of a sudden have, again, the second most points in a game in NBA history. I guess, he would technically, I guess like we're saying, have to do that every time if, he actually wanted to get to the real 84. But in this case, for some reason, the stat keeper is just, it's like a final, it's that the final shot is worth 84 points for some reason. I don't know if the loser is down by 83 and needs the 84 on the final shot to make it back. Sometimes that's a classic Park move. Be like, okay, you're down 6 on this last shot, but if you make it, this last shot's a 7-point shot. That's a classic, I know I'm going to get a stop move. But regardless, you got to take the opportunity to get, if they're offering you a 7-point shot, you've got to at least take it. It is what it is. I don't know if it's a pause, but regardless, Kobe could have, like we said, we have evidence a little bit. We have some minor evidence that Kobe could have gotten to 92 points with the same amount of attempts that Bam Adebayo had in the game, and 104 points if he really got to cooking that night. 92 points if it's a light night, but 104 points if he's really cooking. So let's just double check. Let's see, what would Bam Adebayo do with this shot volume in a game? I think if Bam gets to 60 on the Chat GPT, that would be incredibly lucky. Now here's the complete flip. Bam Adebayo with the same percentage. Realistically, it does, give him favorable percentages here. So let's see, low on the 3-point percentage, like he was in that game. Yeah, it's lowered. It's bumping him down to 3 to 4 makes. Hey, 32. Projected 63 to 68 points. So in reality, Bam should, again, the 83 points, the kids maybe in the future, are they going to say, let's see the evidence? Who knows how the clips, the AI, the kids won't even know if it's AI. They won't believe it. Right now we don't believe the Wilt Chamberlain thing because there's no footage. Now they won't believe the Bam Adebayo thing because there's too much footage all over the place. And there's I don't know if this is real, if this is AI. There's no tags on this. This is before we had to start putting a real life watermark on videos. It goes the other way. We can't control the AI bots, so we can't really get them to tell us if they're generating fake images. They just won't put watermarks on it. So again, we have no way of doing that. So to prevent that, obviously, we have to go the other way. All real images, if you want it to be documented in history as a real image, there's a stamp, a stamp of humanity, AO, that we put on all of the pictures. This might be a novel. Is this the next Andy Weir novel? I'm not sure, but Stamp of Humanity, Amazon Prime, 2028. But I guess it is 2028. 2032. I guess we have to write the book and then get the movie rights for it. But we'll have to put a stamp on all the real life images. So there'll be no, unfortunately, as part of the laying out the backstory of humanity, there'll be kids watching the Bam Adebayo footage, and they'll be like, this didn't actually happen. There's no real life thing. I guess you could make the same case for Kobe, but obviously the historians made an effort to put the stamp of humanity on Kobe's footage and not Bam Adebayo's footage. It is what it is. So a Lakers fan was in charge of that, and they didn't want the Bam Adebayo thing to be the second in history. So that's what happened. He left it unmarked. And now people think the Bam Adebayo thing is AI, and it is what it is. But regardless, I guess it says that Bam Adebayo would have scored 68 points with that amount of shots that he actually took to get to 83. It is. Should I tell ChatGPT? What if I told you that Bam Adebayo did actually score 83 points in a game like this? Still, it is what it is. But what would Asia Wilson do, chat? Shout out to, the great Asia Wilson. Asia Wilson? I don't think her name is Asia Wilson. Asia Wilson. There we go. What would Asia Wilson's stat line look like? She's going to cook him, of course, in this type of shot volume. Kobe got to 82. I mean, I don't think it's disrespectful to at least hesitate when we have to think about who's the better offensive player between Asia Wilson and Kobe Bryant. Again, we're talking about the two of the best offensive players of all time, and two of, legitimately, the diversity of the offensive skill set, because of course Kobe has, a great sort of post-up footwork element to his game as well too. So, Kobe, and he does have that Jordan evolution of being the athletic, high-flying player early in his career, and then kind of becoming, like we're saying, back to the basket. Do you say post-up dominant later in his career? But definitely kind of working from a lot of those different. I triple threat. Really, it's like triple threat dominant is what it is. And then, again, sort of like cutting, explosive athleticism, drive to the basket dominance earlier in his career. But regardless, again, Asia and Kobe, there is that similar crossover there where they just have the ability to, like we're saying, score and attack from everywhere. And, again, she might be a little bit more footwork, inside-out dominant, initially, but has that perimeter game as well, too. So if she had the Bam Adebayo 83-point shot volume in a game, it says that she could get 87, 92. So she's matching Kobe. I mean, obviously 102. There we go. The ceiling game. I guess ChatGPT says no more. No more than 102 for Asia Wilson. The ChatGPT, a bigger misogynist than us. It is what it is. Pause. But hey yo, I guess nobody's a bigger misogynist than us. Shit. Hey yo. Hey. Oh, IT, cut that out. That's disgusting. That's disgusting. It is what it is. But at 102, even more disgusting. ChatGPT saying the absolute ceiling game is 102. What if Asia Wilson hits 43 free throws and 43 threes? Then, it's possible. I actually believe that Asia Wilson could go 43 for 43 from 3 in a WNBA game, or an NBA game for that matter. It doesn't matter. Any game. It's possible. But in theory, the ceiling-ish for this type of shot volume, we'll change the wording there. The ceiling-ish is 102. So, why is Kobe's 104 and Asia Wilson's? We'll say the ceiling for Asia's 106. There we go. Boom. Kobe 104, Asia 106. Give us a round of applause, chat. We'll wait. It is what it is. Do we need to add a applause break in for a soundboard? But yeah, perfect storm 100 is an absolute play. Cheryl Miller. I guess Cheryl Miller did, of course, actually get to it. Cheryl Miller might be the first. Cheryl Miller might be the first legit 100. I guess is there some kind of high school, college legend before that? And I guess again the legend is kind of what we're trying to avoid. I don't know what the highlight. Did we have Huddy back then when Cheryl Miller was dropping 100, or how many did she drop in that? Because there's that story of Reggie Miller, of course, like they're picking him up after the game. He's getting in the car. They're like, oh, shout out, Reggie had 40 tonight. Like, that's pretty impressive. And they're like, oh, yeah, Cheryl scored like 110. Ayo, sit down. It is what it is. So Reggie, again, Cheryl Miller, ayo, we're just acting like we're, buddies over here, I guess. But, the great Cheryl Miller could, also go 43 for 43, I guess. If Bam Adebayo, if Asia Wilson could go 40 for 43, I guess, Cheryl Miller can as well. But regardless, we could keep, simulating legend performances all night. Seems like, again, if anybody was playing the Wizards that night, that was a great player. They're getting to 90. It is what it is. So, Bam, you should have gotten to 90. You should have gotten to 90. I know how difficult it is to get to 83. We have, if you play to 11 at the park, if you're playing best of 11 and you score 8 of your team's 11 points, that's like almost kind of the same thing, because percentage-wise, it's the same type of volume, offensive volume that you're carrying for your team. What is it? What do you have? 83 out of 150? I mean, that's almost half. Hey, yo. Let's see if we can figure this out here. So if you score 8 of your team's 11 points in a pickup game, is that more impressive? And you might even assist on the other 3 as well too. So you could potentially be responsible for 100% of your team scoring in a pickup game, and you could do that You could do that for a 7-game series. Imagine being responsible for all of your team's points in a 7-game series. I mean, Bam. I hate to call you out, but should we say let's see you do that? I mean, Jokic might. Hey yo, but we tread lightly as we say that. But Jokic is a great basketball player as well too. But is that more impressive than scoring 83? 983. Now that would be impressive. 83 of your team's 150 in an NBA game. But remember, we have to specify in an NBA game against the Wizards, and they foul late to up the score. And I guess there is clips of Bam saying not to foul as well. So, there is a little bit of so maybe Bam missed the free throws. I don't know. What if you don't want to get the record, then don't get the record. It is what it is. But if you score 80 of your team's 11 points in a pickup game, is that more impressive than scoring 83 of your team's 150 in an NBA game against the Wizards and they foul late to up the score? So let's see if the pickup game performance is actually more impressive. I think it has a case. I think it has a great case. Yes, volume versus dominance. Obviously, 83 points, maybe maybe it is more likely that a player does the 80% performance in a pickup game than a player scores 83 in an NBA game. So there is that math, the likelihood of either team happening. That's 73% of your team's points. 8 out of 11 is 73%. It's not in the, I guess 8 out of 10 is just 80. So, I would, I guess we're playing at 10s now, but game of 11, every possession matters, no spacing, no refs. And see, no refs. It's like playing against Joe Dumars and Bill Laimbeer, but everybody knows you're getting the ball. They can't stop, pure takeover mode. It is what it is. 83 of the teams won 55% of your team's points. And let's see, for Bam as well in this game, to continue to shred apart Bam's 3 assists. Oh, Chad. I mean, I don't know if Kobe had, a ton of assists in that game, but 3 for Bam, 83 points and 3 assists. What is he, Melo? I mean, that's even disrespect. I mean, Melo. Oh, Chad. What would Melo have done with 43 field goal attempts in a game? Oh man. I mean, probably in one of them. We don't need to make jokes. We'll just defend our guy Melo. He would have been awesome. He would have scored. Now we're just ripping apart Melo, but and Carmelo Anthony is who we're talking about. Just to be clear about what are you saying? 55% of your team's points against elite athletes, full game scouting schemes, defense loaded up, trapping, adjusting. Also, it's the NBA, but even with late fouls, you still had to get 70 plus before that. So it's like, okay, 70 plus is impressive no matter what. It says, so what's more impressive? 83 in the NBA and it's not close? Oh, chat. Competition level alone makes this way harder. You're doing it over 48 minutes versus pros trying to stop you. Relative dominance, how much you controlled the game. 8 of 11 is actually crazier. Okay, wait a second. But relative dominance. Okay, so objectively to relative dominance. So yeah, relative dominance, pickup game is better. You're basically were the offense. Teammates barely mattered. So cleaner verdict, harder to score 83 points in an NBA game, but the more dominant performance is the 8 out of 11. So I guess, a positive for both. It is what it is. So how many points over how many games? Do you have to score like 600 straight pickup points for it to be relevant? How many? And I guess if there's a J in points, does that mean that you have to do it in Sweden? I don't know. Points, but let's see here. Points. That was a reach, Chad. It is what it is. We know. We'll keep it moving. How many points over how many games do you have to score? We're gonna try to We're gonna try to outperform Bam this summer, chat. We're gonna find a pickup court. We're gonna outperform Bam Adebayo. Pause. Whoa. Hey yo. It is what it is. But okay, how many do you have to score to outdo? I guess outdo an 83-point NBA game. There has to be a way. There has to be a way. I know you say there's no way because of the level of competition, but again, if I score 1,000 straight points in a pickup game, at some point you go, how many? I guess if I could do it, then Kevin Durant could obviously. Whatever that same. It's like if that group of guys let me score 1,000 points on them, then that group of guys is probably gonna let Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's never gonna stop scoring, but. Regardless, I guess maybe he misses a couple of shots. I don't know. You don't want to say, he's old, so I guess there is that. Does he just get? We're not gonna say injury. Maybe he just gets tired. Hey yo, it is the stamina's a little weaker. I don't know. But how many points do you have to do to outscore an 83 point NBA game? There is a way, and we will try to replicate it the best we can. So let's see if there is an answer that. Applies. So the 83 game, peak Kobe territory, elite defense focused on you. You outdo comparable dominance multiple times, but less dominance over a stretch. So break it into equivalents, 2-game stretch to clearly beat 83. So 110 to 120 total points equals 3-game stretch. So wait, is this in pickup game? I'm confused. How many points are these pickup games? Hey, yo, 50, you're playing to 50 or 60 in a pickup game? Okay, I think we might need to word this a little better. Okay, yeah, I think it's saying for an NBA. I meant, it's like pickup's not even an option. It's not even in consideration. I meant in pickup. Because again, I guess maybe the only way to actually outperform Adebayo in this scenario, is to actually make the NBA. But we're gonna have to skirt around that and do it in pickup basketball because I guess we can't make the NBA. So outside of being able to make the NBA, we can outperform Bam's stat line in every other way. But the NBA part is gonna be a little shaky there. We will admit that. It is what it is. But yeah, okay, pickup changes everything. You gotta run it across multiple games. First of all, what makes 8 of 11 so crazy? We already got there. 2 pickup games. 8 of 11's 1. 7. You need something like 7 plus 7 for 14 total points. But that's not close. Better yet to clearly beat it. 8 plus 7, 15 points. Or 7 plus 8. Okay. 3 pickup games would be 20. You go 7, 7, 6 out of 11. So 20 of 33, 61 points. You didn't spike. You controlled the entire run. 5-game run. This is the real separator. 30 plus total points. So clean pickup to outdo 8 of 11 once. Okay, I think we're a little lost in the weeds here. We'll try to answer this question correctly one more time. We'll just ask it, I guess. What do we have to have? Hey, yo, this is not going to be good. What do we have to have for a pickup basketball stat line in games to 11? Hey, yo. In games to 11 to match an 83-point NBA game. I guess, how many pickup games would it take? Because again, there's got to be a Guinness record or something that we can potentially reference. An 83-point game is extreme volume, extreme efficiency, so that's 7 to 8 points in a game, like we said. So 8 to 11 in a pickup version, but there's more than that. It's repeated 3 straight games. So yeah, I guess 2/3. Okay, so this is doable. Hey, yo, I guess I'm kind of doubting myself now. It is what it is. I'm thinking pickup can't be this. NBA can't be this easy, right? Maybe we can make the NBA. I don't know. Can we be good? So if we score 7 to 8 points a game in a pickup game across 5 games, we're basically Will Chamberlain. Hey, yo. Okay. I guess we'll put this on the vision board for the rest of 2026, and I think this is pretty accomplishable. I guess it's not really saying that. Again, so here we go. Finally, to match an 83-point pickup game, at least 3 games. Better answer 4 to 5 straight games, averaging 6 points a game. Imagine half our team's points for 5 straight games, and we're in the NBA. The scouts, does a scout just spawn if we score 6 points in 5 straight pickup games? Chat, this is doable. Hey, yo, look out, Bam Adebayo. We're putting up, we can't even, we're putting up 30 points in an afternoon, and that's going to be better than your 83-point game. It is what it is. The advanced analytics say it's true. We ran the numbers. We ran what do we say? We ran the simulations. We do know for a fact that according to stats, scoring 30 out of 55 points in a pickup run is more impressive than scoring 83 of 150. It just is what it is. There's no debating. It's solved. Bam Adebayo, you have to call in and defend yourself. It is what it is. But we'll take a quick break, and then we'll be right back to keep on recapping the bracket. I guess we got to get back to the bracket. Hey, what was the most points Bam ever scored in a tournament game? It is what it is. I don't know. We'll be back, chat. More March Madness right after this. All right, we are back, and like we said, we're still waiting for that, real, what's the, I guess not every tournament needs an all-time March Madness moment, but what's the real March Madness moment going to be from this first round? Are we, with the transfer portal, like I said, moving into a different era of competitive balance in college basketball where it really is just this insane sort of top-dominant version of the tournament, AO? But I guess, to keep an eye. Oh, chat, classic March Madness fashion. Are we still watching? Heck yeah, we're still watching. Keep the TV on for even longer. Let's see. Keep it streaming. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. There's only two reasons the March Madness one of it is, but it's better. Regardless, what are we saying, chat? Getting distracted. But regardless, yeah. Prairie View A&M. I had to remember even the name of this 16 seed that's playing right now. Prairie View A&M is playing Florida, a 1 versus 16, and I didn't realize that they were the Golden State Warriors. They're 5 for 7 for 3 in the first 5 minutes of the game, but they are still down 2 to Florida. So we'll see if Prairie A&M is able to be, if a 1-16 seed upset happens, I guess, it starts to be now a little bit of more of a trend over the last couple years. It's like, wait, how often is this happening now? But that type of madness would make up for, like we're saying, a pretty high-seeded dominant sort of bracket. But again, they are able to go offensively shot for shot with them here. And we do have that Kansas versus Cal Baptist game starting as well, too. We'll see if unfortunately for Sam, we'll see if his team is on March Madness watch. But maybe it's Florida and Darren Peterson is able to handle his business in this one as well too. And again with Dembasta playing as well as he, having the stat line that he did in the tournament game, I guess we're giving a lot of credit for scoring. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt for scoring 35. I'm assuming they weren't like 11 ugly shots. Though if we go back and double check the tape, it very well could be. But regardless, with him having, a good performance in the first round, it is going to be obviously important for Peterson to perform as well too, because he has definitely been, as the efficient scorer, that lead draft guy. But there is that team lead element that, of course, Boozer has had over the course of his career, where you don't necessarily, I think, quite at this point know if Boozer is going to be like a number one option. And, I just still don't know if like if Peter, like, I don't know if any, I don't want to say that nobody in this draft is a number one option per se. And maybe this draft has been this draft class has been comped to this draft class before. But it does seem a little maybe kind of like the Paolo, Chet, Jabari draft class where, it was like, okay, Paolo is, if any of these guys were to be franchise guys, it would seem like it would be Paolo with his skill set, but they all have the ability to be like really amazing number 2 type of players. And obviously Chet has, won a title as, again, would you say second best, but, won a title in his role in OKC. Again, has Jabari Smith been like a number 2 in Houston? Is he number 3 or 4? Regardless, he has still, been a very impactful sidekick type of guy and projected out that way. Again, could Boozer and Peterson and Dembasta all be sort of complementary guys in a bigger system? Obviously, more than, all-stars per se. Could they all be Bam Adebayo level players? Really good, impactful players. Maybe they don't score 20 points a game every night, but they impact it in other ways. Again, maybe the reason that we have leaned toward Cam Boozer over the course of the season is because it does seem like he is maybe a little bit more like Paolo in the sense of his offensive creation mixed with his, again, scoring ability. And Florida has kind of taken the lead here a little bit with a run. They've gotten out literally running in transition, and Prairie View A&M not able to put up any points in the last couple minutes. 15-23, timeout. So we'll see if they're able to regroup. I mean, they did score all their points from 3, so there is that, instant, just okay. They went out, started off super hot right away. But it's like, if it's their night, it's their night. We'll just have to see. So, and again, Miami versus Missouri, 7-10. No drama watch there. unfortunately for those guys, no drama watch. I guess we could have, the buzzer beater final moments like we did get in the Santa Clara, Kentucky game, which is, what we're looking for in those type of games, I guess, in the March Madness environment. But in terms of the upset, because we even picked Santa Clara to win. So again, in our quest to get every pick wrong, it is what it is. It's the Into the Spider-Verse false test. Ayo. You've got to get every pick. Maybe that's a new bracket challenge we start every year. We get how many picks can you get wrong? I guess it'd be pretty easy to get, some of the later picks wrong if you just pick the 16 seeds to make the Final Four. But is that the equivalent? It's not the equivalent of picking a 1 seed to make the Final Four because, shout out to the 16 seeds, but the 1 seeds can't actually make the Final Four. So, or I guess it would be like picking them to lose every round. But I guess if you're trying to win, however you want to say it, regardless, it's not going to go well. But it's not like you could stumble into losing your bracket because all of a sudden the 16 seeds just like in the Final Four. That would be the next step, I guess. But like we're saying, maybe college basketball is, trending upward as well too if all of these guys are just transferring to, and not everybody's necessarily transferring to the same school, but they're transferring up into the Power 5 and into the more major schools. So maybe, shout out Otega Owe, obviously, again, for having the buzzer beater that saved the season for Kentucky, but having been there for a couple years as well, too. I guess we can't assume that he was recruited by Kentucky, but I guess we're going to say that he was. We're going to say that, speaking of Bam Adebayo, I guess since his college stat links are right here, we can double check. How many times did Bam score? Oh, it's not. That's just his driving. I was saying, how many times did Bam score 20 points in college? But he did play with Monk and Fox, De'Aaron Fox and Malik Monk as well too. So, obviously offensive scoring was not his priority on that team. It was, as again, maybe you would have thought in the NBA, accomplishing the other things as well too. But yeah, let's see here. Our guy Owe, 3 seasons, 4 seasons. Oh, he did transfer from Oklahoma. So everybody transfers. So 2 seasons at Kentucky, he's like a guy. It is what it is. But 2 seasons at Oklahoma as well too. But again, in the tournament, both these seasons for Kentucky, he has been impressive. They showed, again, we just happened to walk past the TV at the right moment when they showed his stat line, but they were saying that he was one of 3 players to have 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 5, and if I'm getting this right, one of 3 all time to have 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists in, I guess this is, getting kind of ultra specific, but in multiple round of 64 games. So, again, how many guys have necessarily played multiple round of 64 games? Because obviously you can only play 1 a year. So that does assume that you're in college basketball 1 or 2 seasons. All of the great one and done players from this century plus, are now no longer qualifying in that. I mean, did Anthony Davis put up 20 points in the first round game? We'd have to go back and double check. He might have only put up like 4. Well, I say only, but might have just got like 14 or something, and let other guys do the scoring. Had like 14, 10, and 6 or something crazy like that. But regardless, obviously, I guess on the other hand, so many guys also played, multiple seasons in college as well too. But I mean, Zion as well too. I guess did RJ Barrett scored 20, but the 5 and 5, again, it is impressive for our guy. Oh, I mean, obviously all like the great centers from back in the day. 5 assists is still pretty attainable for a big man in a game as well too. You start getting for centers in NBA history, averaging 5 assists a game for a season, and that is going to be, impressive playmaking work. But you think about like Bill Walton as well too. Like, does that include Bill Walton? Like, did Bill Walton just again not get to like 20 points? And I'm assuming it probably would have been the assists. Like, he just didn't get to 5 assists in one of the games. But he's a great playmaker as well too. Or Kareem. So again, a little specific. Is that the Thaddeus Young stat line of the tournament? But I think that one is a little bit more realistic than the Thaddeus Young stat line. I think the Thad Young stat, that one had some very specific percentages in it. It wasn't necessarily just, I think honestly, like maybe we have to pull that one back up. Pause. Like the raw sort of, and to be honest, again, it's impressive that Thaddeus Young is in a statistical achievement. Like you probably can rig stats to find weird, quote unquote weird names in there with historical guys. But it's like, yes, Thaddeus Young was also like a good basketball player at the peak of his powers. Again, the points per game thing, was a little bit lower. So it's still like, even with him producing that quote unquote historic stat line, it's not like, again, he's scoring 35 a game over multiple seasons. But, could Thaddeus Young have been Draymond Green on the Warriors? Like, I don't, think about it, Chad. We're not going to sit here and discredit Draymond Green. I mean, could Thaddeus Young have stayed in all 7 games of the 2016 finals? There it is, Chad. It had to be said. It had to be said. Do they win the 2016 finals with Thaddeus Young? Do we have to ask the ChatGPT, another simulation? Could Thaddeus Young have been Draymond Green on the Warriors? What was that stat line? We need to look that up at least once a year. Thaddeus, I guess we just don't know how to spell. It is what it is. There's probably not a forward slash in his name, but let's see. Thaddeus Young. Double D for Thaddeus Young, pause. Thaddeus Young graphic. Here we go. Yeah, it did have the percentages. So, but again, okay, players with 800 games to average 13.5 points, 5.9 rebounds, 1.4 steals, 49% from the field and 30% from 3. Magic, Bird, Jordan, LeBron, and Thaddeus Young. I mean, that's still impressive. I know it's like, for some reason it doesn't count as impressive. I guess maybe 30% from 3 is, I mean, again, they're not necessarily, all of these stats are not necessarily like crazy individually on their own. 1.5 steals is pretty good per game for sure, and 49% from field is not bad as well too, considering NBA history. But again, all very achievable, but apparently you put them all together, and 800 to do that over a sustained run, 800 games, it is impressive. So, we're taking Thaddeus Young is right there, Chad. Put him on the Mount Rushmore. It is what it is. One of the greats, Thaddeus Young. But again, we'll need to put the, I guess we had to probably pause when we say the stamp of humanity. That is probably a pretty crazy pause. It is what it is. We were so focused on the plot of see, this is what happens. Writers get so focused on like their own idea. They're just like, like the idea makes so much sense, the stamp of humanity. You put it on an image and it just like, it tells you if it's real. And then you're like, oh, obviously, there would, I guess, are you down bad if you're, what are you doing with the Thaddeus Young graphic? Pause. But regardless, we do probably have to pause the stamp of humanity. That is crazy. But regardless, I guess, we have to authenticate this image. I mean, now it's, either way, it's going to be ridiculous what we're thinking about, but we have to make sure that this is not AI, that people know that this is not AI down the line. But imagine, we could probably use AI to try to find, similar stat lines. We could use Gemini. I don't know if ChatGPT would be able to give us historical accuracy there. But again, for people to know that this AI is not fake. But maybe we should do this. maybe we should make fake news, chat. Can we cook up graphics that would like seem real and like be fake? Like, I guess now I don't know why immediately I went to Shedeur Sanders as the first thought. Pause. I guess here, let's see we never saw what Bill. I guess because they didn't have a round of 64 when Bill Walton played. See, that makes so much sense. Because Bill Walton did put up 25 and 5 in. He only got to 2 assists in the round of 16 though in 74. So, that's again kind of specific, but still, it's not the Otega Owe performance. Pause of the 25 and 5. Elvin Hayes, another name from, I guess Isaiah Thomas. How does the OG Isaiah spell his name? Was it 80-81 for Isaiah? Okay, I thought it was 70s, but shout out 80-81. He was the national champion. And I guess the year before, 29 games played. Here we don't know the record of that team necessarily. And I guess if they made the tournament as well too is not necessarily a guarantee. But and again, they only had a round of 32. So that's why I guess that is a Thad Young stat line for sure. Because I would like to know, I guess, first round of the tournament. multiple first rounds, I still think it could be impressive. I guess because, again, Isaiah only got, quote unquote, obviously Isaiah could probably score more points in a game than Otega Owe if he wanted to. Is it Bam versus Kobe? Back at the pause. But style of play, and they literally didn't have a 3-point line as well, too. It's not listed as an option for Isaiah Thomas, or he literally just didn't take any. It just no need to register him as like 0 for 0. But I think it would still probably show as 0 for 0. But regardless, 1-3 in each of these games, he's there, and you see the scoring when he need. Like in the next game they're losing, he's like, okay, I need to drop 30, and he drops 30 on a very efficient 30. He's 13 for 20 in the round of 16 in 80, and then in 81, yeah, of course, powers the team to the finals that year. Hey, I don't know why, randomly we thought of Steph Castle. We'll adjust the computer so you can see the Spurs jersey back. But I don't know why we randomly thought of Steph Castle, but Isaiah Thomas, Steph Castle. I mean, not, maybe stylistically the same player, but that kind of guard of leading the team to the national title. And then, I don't know, Hey, does that make Wemby Bill Laimbeer? I don't know. But, who's Vinny John, or no, who's John Sally? Hey, is Wemby John Sally? I think if you know, you know. If you know, you know. I think that's, we're in pause territory as well, too. If Wemby's John Sally, then shout out. I mean, we don't need to be asking these questions. But regardless, back to the basketball. Shout out Otega Owe as well. I'm sure modern day guards that could put up 20 points in multiple championship. Oh, chat. Hey, speaking of Indiana guards as well, too, what about like Yogi Ferrell? I mean, it's just our recall. We got to be able to, know these names. It is what it is. Our Michigan guy, like, we can go back and look at Trey Burke's college career as well, too. I guess, 3 years of 17, 16 or more for Yogi Ferrell, a baller. Cassius Winston, obviously, watching more of the Big Ten than the other conferences. Those will be the other names that we would recall as well, too. But let's see here. Wait a second. Do we have, I guess we just have all his games to sort through for our guy Ferrell. So, 16, 1 year in the round of 64, didn't make the tournament a year. And then, so yeah, if you're not making the tournament, 24 in the round of 64, 24, 0 rebounds for Yogi Ferrell. I mean, shout out, a smaller guard, still balling out as well. An impressive performance, 4 for 6 from 3, 7 for 15 from the field overall. But yeah, not quite able to. Cassius Winston actually might have, though. Cassius Winston is, one of the scarier players that, as a Michigan fan, having to face over the course of Big Ten tournament play. Again, obviously, like Purdue has had massive, unguardable centers in the past. There have been great scores all throughout the Big Ten, but Cassius Winston was a baller. I tell you what, kids, Cassius Winston, don't forget, 7 points in the round of 64 in 2017. In the round of 64 in 2018, 11 points. He was definitely a baller against Michigan. That's for sure. I guess not in 2018. What year? Well, there was 1 year, that's for sure. Oh, yeah, here it is, 60 for 65. 14 points, but I tell you what, an important 14 points. It is what it is. He was gutsy in that game. A 60 to 65 point win. Round of 64 the next year, 26, 3, and 4. And then that would have been his best. So, yeah, again, Otega Owe, there's no denying it. He is just do you say legendary? A legendary tournament performer for the University of Kentucky. And again, maybe Kentucky is specific as well, too, to guards being one and done there as well. Like, again, we're saying De'Aaron Fox, but literally all of the great guards this century have been there for one season. So they haven't had that ability to accumulate the stats that, always had there. But, that is going to still, endear you to the school in another way. I guess I can't necessarily speak for Kentucky, but, just because a guy transfers doesn't mean that I know that, again, we have the conversation about whatever, but it doesn't mean that you still can't get connected to the school. I mean, we're going to love this Michigan team, I guess. We'll see what happens against St. Louis this week in our, Ghostface Avila over there, but we will, regardless, I'm assuming, love this Michigan team for the season that they've had. Lendenborg and Mara and all these guys for transferring in, Dusty may bring it. When you transfer with your coach, that is a little bit different. But got to defend our guys. But regardless, still, I think that in the, like we're saying, the modern landscape of college basketball as well too. I mean, it just is what it is. Those are the guys in the teams that you have to be, connected with. Again, there are, like we're saying, Purdue's got Braden Smith. They've had some teams do still have guys that, yes, are there for years, and you do have that connection developed as well too, and you can still have the great memories and Darren Peterson. Darren Peterson be one of the great Kansas players of all time. Again, Anthony Davis, fondly remembered at Kentucky for bringing him a national title in his one season. Even like we're saying, the De'Aaron Fox, Bam, Malik Monk team. People love that team, and they were only there for one team, and I mean for 1 year, and it was obviously a really, really fun team. Do we have to go back and double check? Was Fox? Fox was only there for one season, right? He was only De'Aaron Fox, 2017. I was gonna say, did Lonzo was one and done too? Lonzo didn't stay for 2 years, did he? Yeah, Lonzo was one and done as well. Bam, everybody from that team. I mean, I imagine. They're all lottery picks, all 5-star guys. Bam and Mo Bamba also a one and done as well too. I guess double check Malik Monk as well. 2017. I guess like Walter, again, we check every guy, but Walter Clayton last year helping Florida go to the national championship game, and they had a good trio of guards as well too. So it wasn't necessarily just Clayton in the national championship game. And I guess like we're saying, we don't necessarily know what he did in the tournament before that, or specifically what he did in the round of 64 as well too in the year that they won. But let's see here. Round of 64. They lost to Colorado in 2024. It was 100-102. What a game. 33 points for Walter Clayton, but 1 rebound, 1 assist. So definitely getting there from the scoring. But again, a little lacking on the rest of the box score. Not criticizing the game. It's just still, again, statistically not qualifying for what we're looking for. Again, respectfully. But he is close this next year. 23, 5 rebounds, 2 assists in the round of 64 versus Norfolk State. And again, incredible tournament. We're not taking anything away from major reason why Florida won the national championship. Again, speaking of legendary guys, he'll be beloved in Florida. And I guess, also a transfer for Iona as well, too, but was so clutch for him last year. And, such a big-time performer that there's no way that he's not going to be beloved as well, too. So let's see. Our guy, Trey Burke, he had to be pretty close, I imagine. I don't know if, Tim Hardaway Jr. quite would have gotten to 20 in each of the game or the 5 and 5. I think Trey Burke could have gotten to the 5 and 5 as well, too. I don't know if Tim Hardaway Jr. was, getting 5 assists in back-to-back round of 64 games. But regardless, he could have. He could have had a couple times where just, the offense was moving, the ball was hopping around. But our guy Trey Young, round of 64 in 2013, had 16 points, 5 assists, 3 rebounds. So close, but, just on the outside looking at Walter Clayton's performance, probably a little bit more outstanding. And then round of 64 against South Dakota State in 2013, 6 points. Not his finest game. Again, a great tournament after that. But I guess 7 in the win against Syracuse, but they still won, so we'll overlook it. Again, the rest of the games was pretty outstanding. So, shout out to, again, all this is to just say that Otega Owe, you have to give it credit, even if it is a little in I guess, is the REMINGTOM pod trying to find out what's real and what's not for March Madness, what's exciting and what's actually not. But, in this case, we're actually saying that, yes, this is not a Thaddeus Young stat line. This is March Madness. This is a great performance by Otega Owe for the games that he has put up here recently. Let's see, last year against Troy, was it? 20 points, but 8 rebounds, 6 assists. And, they comfortably handled, Troy in that game and beat Illinois in the round of 32 as well. Lost to Tennessee in the Sweet 16. But, I mean, he was balling out all tournament. 15 and 13, again, may not be like crazy on the stat line, but that's still really good for the college game in these tournament settings, and he's still, overall pretty efficient as well. I guess not quite assisting at the same rate in those other games. But, yeah, I mean, he'll have a chance against... Are they up against Iowa State, though? So that's going to be... that's going to be a tough one if I'm remembering that correctly. Yeah, Iowa State. So a little bit... But I guess Iowa State's only a 4.5-point favorite? I don't know. I guess that would be... Because Jefferson went down with the injury today. So wait a second. We have to double check. We might not be all caught up on Iowa State basketball, but we do know that their guy Jefferson, is Joshua. I don't know why I was going to say Jordan Jefferson, but Joshua Jefferson has been one of their better players this year. 16 a game. So wait, who was leading them in scoring? I think he had a great tournament game as well too. But Momoklovich? What's that last part of his name there? But he's at 17, so, again, they do have guys that can step up if he is going to be out, which is, you don't want to necessarily look at the, break for, you don't want to look at it as like a break for your team. But Iowa State is still scary. I think in the game they were playing better with him, without Joshua Jefferson, than when he was in the game. And again, it could have just been them getting in the rhythm of the game as well too. Judd sprains his ankle. X-rays negative. So that is a good thing there, because he was he on crutches at one point in the game? So again, that maybe doesn't necessarily guarantee that he's going to play in the next game. But Joshua Jefferson on emotions rehab of ankle sprain. So we could see their players discuss Jefferson and injury. I guess it's not saying definitively that he is out, but here, let's see what this Yahoo Sports article says to see if we can dig up a little bit more information. He was helped off the court, went down after making a layup, turned his left ankle severely as soon as he landed. He immediately writhed in pain when he hit the floor. And I guess the thing is, the tournament as well too. They are, you do have that quick turnaround. It's not like next week. Obviously, if they win, then he will have that time to recover. And they can still definitely, probably, I would assume, get past Kentucky without him. But, level of difficulty there. But as he was helped to his feet, he was unable to put any weight on it, was immediately taken for x-rays, later ruled doubtful. Again, they were, doing just fine, at least in this game, without him. No disrespect to his game, but, just the level of competition in this one. So that was, again, definitely a bit of a bummer for the, I don't know if you would have said not national title hopes, but I think they were sneaky a national title team. I guess speaking of things that we've seen on the TV walking around at work, they did have a graphic during the, I want to say it was halftime of the Ohio State TCU game. So halftime of the opening game of the tournament, because that was the first one to tip off. They were showing some statistical factors to help narrow down the field as to who would potentially be the national champion. Maybe show that before the bracket picks lock, but they were like, these stats are so good that we can't risk it. These people are going to win their brackets. But I want to say it narrowed down to Duke and UConn out of the East. It wasn't like necessarily two teams per region, but I want to say it was Duke and UConn. I guess maybe it was the top two seeds in general, but did it rule out? Who did it rule out? Oh, maybe it ruled out Florida as the one seed, as like one of the random teams. And then it had maybe Illinois was out. I guess we don't remember exactly, but it did have, I want to say, all of the 1 and 2 seeds except for Florida as eligible. So maybe the point is, maybe Iowa State was a team that statistically was, according to what we saw, a team that could have, of course, won the national title. Again, you would expect as a 2 seed, but regardless, the filter did work out in their favor that way. So again, the hopes of, but realistically, the Final Four is a very, very plausible goal for this team as well too. Again, we don't want to say that with Michigan in the bracket, but it is a tough matchup if both teams are fully healthy as well. But yeah, regardless, definitely going to get a little bit more difficult there, and we'll see the turnaround against Kentucky if that hurts. But I would assume that they still have enough talent on the roster in general to get the win there. And maybe Owe is, the guard of the tournament as well too. The guy that is able to, we're looking for who's going to have the fun Sweet 16 run or Elite 8 run. And Kentucky is that major program. It always is that major program that like gets a little underseeded or has a little bit of an undervalued year, because again, they always have talented guys, as as every team does, but you have some of those extra talented guys on your team as well too. So 7 assists to 2 turnovers. You just see pretty, efficient game for the most part all the way around. And then our guy Denzel Aberdeen. Hey, anybody named Denzel? I mean, Denzel Boston in this upcoming draft. They're on our draft list, I guess. It is what it is. But 16, 6 of 11, 4 for 8 from 3 in this game. When he gets to making threes, he does have one of the smoothest 3-point makes. Like, do you say make animations? Hey, but he does have one of the smoothest when he makes his shots. They are, beautiful swishes. Pause. It is what it is. But yeah, I mean, again, they are definitely going to be a little bit of a 2-man show there. And I guess Diabate is balling out as well too. So I guess, shout out, more balanced than we're giving them credit for. But yeah, I mean, just in general, that whole side of Michigan's bracket looked pretty terrifying. I mean, literally the 3 highest scoring teams in the bracket were all there. And I mean, Michigan did start a little bit slow as well too against Howard. We weren't necessarily like, with all due respect to Howard, thinking we were going to be on upset watch. But again, we did have Duke Siena be close, so it's like maybe we are going to get drama from one of these 116 games. Again, that one starts a little bit close, but then Michigan pulls away, gets to 101. It's like all of a sudden we're the best team in the tournament now. And then immediately after that, St. Louis scores 102, and that's the team we're going to be playing next. So St. Louis, also in our bracket, scores 102. And then Iowa State, the 2 seed, gets to 108. But I mean, look at everybody else that won as well. Just offensively, this is crazy. Literally everybody that won almost scored 90 or more. We had a 101 for Michigan, 102 for St. Louis, 91 for Texas Tech, 90 for Alabama, 78 for Tennessee, dragging it down, pause, 82 for Virginia, so those are the 2 lowers, and then 89 for Kentucky, 108 for Iowa State. So, I mean, yeah, you've got 6 of the 8 winners getting to 89 or more points is, again, pretty impressive offense. So this is going to be the must-watch bracket then for round 2 as well. And people were definitely saying that this was the tougher one. Again, Michigan was the 4. No, we were the 3, not the 4 seed. But I think they were like, they might have gotten the toughest draw of the brackets. But I don't know if I wanted to believe it, but it is kind of looking like that. Again, just based on the offensive output of these teams. Because, yeah, look, in Duke's bracket, Duke, got to 71. TCU, 66. St. John, 79. Kansas, I guess they're looking good right now. But Louisville, 83. Michigan State, 92. UCLA, 75. And UConn hasn't even started yet. Hey, it is what it is. UConn versus Furman. Still up to go here. So, hey, if anything, maybe there's the drama there, but because UConn hasn't lost any tournament games recently as well too. I mean, they've had just like 3 incredible years of like tournament runs, so maybe they're just due for sort of a quote unquote bad tournament game as well. I don't know. They lose to Furman in the first round would be that would be the final bracket buster for us. Pause, because like we said, we haven't had a Final Four team, or a lot of our Elite 8, Sweet 16 teams are still cooking. But Arkansas with 97 did look impressive as well too. I guess Purdue got to 104, so they're in the 100 club. Again, Michigan validating Michigan's loss in a sense, and it would be sickening if Purdue went on a run as well too. But you do have to give Smith his credit. Like we're saying, the Big Ten tournament was definitely a fun sort of historical thing for him to help his team get there. But then for him to be, like we're saying, the Kemba Walker watch list for this tournament is crazy. He did pass the all-time assist record in college basketball in this game. So 8 assists as well, but 25 from Trey Kaufman-Renn in this one, and then 14 from Fletcher Lloyd as well too. Hey, yo, Fletcher Lloyd still hanging around. 14 points in this game here. Omar Mayer, 4 for 6, 9 points off of the bench, the leading scorer there. And I guess Queens, unfortunately, didn't have the individual firepower from one player to keep up. Only two players in the game got to double digits. Nasir Mann with 10 and Jordan Watford with 10. Literally just 10 points. And I guess we had a 9-point score. Mabin Gabriel with it's spelled with a J if you're listening to this. That's why we said Jabriel. We're not just reading it bad. Hey, yo. But the 9 points, 4 for 9 from the field. So maybe they'll get more tested next week in their next game against I guess Miami or Missouri. We'll see who is the matchup there. Missouri. Oh, I thought it said 22. 12 to 16. Miami is up. So that should be, again, no upsets there. If anything happens, the no drama game, the 7-10 matchup. But yeah, Arkansas with a cuff is now, and like we said, the minute I start to buy in that's the Rem jinx. They're gonna lose the next game. I think High Point, again, the offense there is a tough matchup. I don't know if Arkansas is a defensive team, so if it's, goes shot for shot, then hey, if High Point's cooking, obviously, it is what it is. And I don't know how one person dominant here Arkansas is with a cuff. Again, obviously, like we're saying, Kemba Walker watch list, Shabazz Napier watch list for that tournament run potential. 24 points in this one, 9 for 19. Trevon Brazile. This is Brazil with 19 points. Do they drop that sound effect every time he scores? This is Brazil. Hey, yo, if he gets drafted to our NBA team, he definitely has. He definitely does. Malik Thomas with 21 as well, too. 9 for 16. So, again, just the offensive firepower of the starting five here. Looks like it is potentially pretty scary. So that would be Arkansas, Arizona in round 3. Yeah, we do. That would be fun. That would definitely be fun. And, a cuff continuing to ascend up the status boards as well, too. We'll see how it plays into the draft season, but I imagine that it can't hurt him as well, too, if he continues to lead his team there. Gonzaga, kind of sneaky, in a close call, but you get Texas in your next game, still pretty winnable. And again, even Purdue at 104, we'll see if they're actually I think it's just us that is not taking them seriously. We just still can't buy in. It is what it is. But yeah, Gonzaga 31-3. Again, not necessarily the most convincing win at Kennesaw State, but they could just be a fine-to-win team. And the word on the street about this team was that it is. Hey, yo, we don't know the grammar, I guess. The grammar? We don't know grammar. The word on the street about Gonzaga is that this is the best defensive team that Mark Few has had, which is, not a light statement. Not a light statement. Mark Few, shout out, one of the great coaches that we have currently coaching in college basketball, and then one of the, longest tenured as well, too. 26 years at Gonzaga. Yeah, 26 years at all of them at Gonzaga. So to say that in this century that this is the best defensive team that they've had is pretty insane. And they've been at least a top 10, an AP top 10 team in, 14 of the last 15 years, each of the last 13 seasons to 9, 10 seasons almost as well. So, again, peaking at they were number 1 at one point, 18, 19, 20, 21, and in 22 they got up to number 2. And then twice they finished the final ranking back-to-back years as number 1. Again, you should forget Gonzaga. Not to say that they're, way off the mountain, but again, Mark Few was really cooking here. Timmy, Kispert, Suggs, Ajayi, Nembhard. Suggs, Kispert, and Nembhard. Again, it's difficult to judge sometimes how good these teams are going to be. If those three, that team is not necessarily like Villanova, that Brunson team And, again, that Brunson team was able to actually win the national title as well, too. No disrespect to this Gonzaga team. And Strother as well, too, I guess was not necessarily playing crazy minutes. But you look at this team and you're like, Suggs, Kispert, and Nembhard are like legitimate NBA role guys. Suggs, I guess it's not crazy to say that Suggs and Nembhard could make an all-star game at some point. It would obviously depend on depth of talent in the conference, of injuries, maybe. Suggs and Nembhard injury replacement potential at some point in their career, but, are very impactful, like max contract for what they can get type of role guys. Same with Kispert as well, too. Like, probably pretty undervalued at this point in Washington. He was not guarding Bam one time, I think, when Bam scored 83, so he's not to blame at all. It is what it is there. But, again, that's obviously a pretty great team. But still, I guess this is the best defensive team, according to the experts that Mark Few is coaching. So maybe these grinded out type of games are just what they're going to win and not necessarily have like a explosive offensive performance. But I guess is 64 to Kennesaw State like a good defensive performance? I guess it is. You got 56 to Miami, Ohio, 63. 47, Houston gave up 47. Smothering pause. 50 for St. Mary. So they're kind of a middle-of-the-pack defensive performance, honestly, for this week. 58 for Long Island, 65 for Siena. Like I said, 64 and 66 in that Ohio State TCU game. 71 for UCF and lost 61. So you have 47 for Troy against Nebraska. So Nebraska looking pretty good there as well, too. Maybe Nebraska. I guess we said Iowa, makes the Sweet 16 if they get past Florida, obviously. But Nebraska, Iowa. I guess we had Vanderbilt as the Elite Eight team making their way through because Florida lost. But maybe it's one of the Big Ten teams. We should give our own conference some respect at some point. But, at least for, like we were saying, second round matchups, that's kind of what we're looking like at this point. So, but we still have, I guess, more basketball to talk about. We got more games firing up here. And, we haven't even gotten to the Wemby buzzer beater from the other night as well. So don't go anywhere, chat. We still got more of the Rem and Sam live stream right after this. We'll be right back. All right, we are back, and our doubts in Kansas were definitely misplaced. Hey, yo, they are handling pause. Kansas, yeah, Cal Baptist early, 25-8, and Florida has managed to make it 60-21 at the half. So the 1 seed, again, we're looking at the official bracket, but in our personal picks bracket, the 1 seed that we have eliminated in the second round is looking almost the best in the first half of any of the 1 seeds so far. Again, the first half for Duke and Michigan were not necessarily like the best in terms of the dominance over the team. Arizona 53-29 in the first half of their game. The second half 39-29, closer in the second half. So shout out to the Long Island University Sharks over there. But yeah, for first half performances, 60-21. Pause. Takes the belt so far. Yeah, 50-46 for Michigan over Howard, and then 51-34 in the second half. And then Siena, covered 43-32. Imagine. And that is a good lesson to learn, maybe, for an opportunity if you do think, I guess, what are you going to think, that a team's going to go out and struggle in the first half like that? But you could have bet Siena in the first half to win the first half, maybe, or something along those lines, and you're not at risk of losing the bet. You're not betting on necessarily like the overall historic outcome. You're betting on being competitive for 20 minutes, which is still impressive, obviously, for a 16 seed. You have to give them their credit there. Not to, speak down on them too much or anything, but regardless, that would have just probably been a great money-making opportunity that we missed out on. How did we not think to bet Siena first half money line? Hey, yo, we're fools, Chad. We're fools. But yeah, they were, again, a lot closer than 60-21. So we'll see if Florida's able to put up 120-42. Is that going to be the final score based on the projections? But yeah, they are looking like the best team so far. Even Illinois as well, too. Yeah, 30-40, 65-40. So 65 is maybe the best offensive half that anybody has had. 60 for Florida so far. Literally, Illinois put up as many points in the half as Iowa put up in the whole game. Hey, yo, chat, we'll make sure to, tell our friends at work about that when they start bragging about how good Iowa was against the 8 seed Clemson. Hey, yo, upset win. We got the hires. It's like, chill out. You're the 9 seed over here. It's a even game. It is what it is. I guess we haven't checked Iowa State yet to confirm. Yeah, 55-29 and 53-45 in the halves for Iowa State there. So again, impressive first half, but shout out to Florida for the complete domination. It is what it is. And shout out to Prairie View as well, too. They were hanging in there. 5-7 to start. It is what it is. But we got to check the NBA scoreboard here. We've been tuned out. It is what it is. We're down to the last game of the day. We might honestly be able to switch at this point. Is it close? It is. Oh, chat. And Jokic is losing? So that means Jokic is going to have to, go on a fourth goal. Jokic versus Pirtle, and Pirtle's outscoring him, chat? Oh, man. Cal Baptist, it's 10-25. We do have, I guess, Furman versus UConn is 10-14 right now. Maybe something goes down there like we were saying, but since we're doubting it, I'm sure bet on it now. It's going to happen. But I still would trust Dan Hurley to win at least one game. So Miami versus Mizzou is close. We could switch to that just to, keep the competitive March Madness game going. But I think we're going to have to make the NBA move. It is what it is. We can't go a full live stream, with NBA on in the universe and us not watching it. It is what it is there. So we do have to at least, for a second, at least put on a little bit of NBA basketball, especially if there's a close, relevant game for us to watch. That's assuming the remote is going to connect. It might not be. Maybe, who knows? If it's not meant to be, it is what it is. But Pirtle, he's still scoring. Is he at the free throw line? He just went from 19 to 20. Jokic, we're not saying that Pirtle's playing better than Jokic. I'm sure on the fantasy stats, Jokic is cooking him right now. It is what it is. Jokic 16, 6, and 7. Hey, 6 and 7. But 20 points for Pirtle is at least something. So 27 and 12 is where we leave this Kansas game. with 5.5 minutes left in the first half. Furman, 16-13, or they're down 3, but hey, they're hanging in there as well. Does UConn have that offensive foot on the gas element that we have? Because Illinois, Iowa State, even Michigan, like it makes sense. And like we're saying, Arkansas, those teams. I don't, Michigan does have an offensive label. Michigan's more of a balanced kind of label, but regardless, like there is an offensive side of Michigan, and maybe Florida's balanced as well too. But you're definitely seeing them, obviously, like we're saying, hit that offensive side. But regardless, it hasn't necessarily been like surprising a team that's gotten to 100. Like they've all been, like we're saying, offensive teams for the most part. If we have to go back and fact check ourselves. And we're just acting like, oh, I guess this is our own bracket, chat. It is what it is. Exposed. We'll look at it. I mean it's not like our picks aren't out there. It's not like we didn't do our picks in the last live stream. Oh, chat, we've gone down since we looked at it earlier. It is with, there's 423 perfect brackets remaining. I'm impressed and jealous at the same time. It is what it is. See live results. What do we got here? 660. 423. We're losing brackets. We're losing recipes. So the Ohio State loss immediately, I guess, do you say half the brackets? Does the math work out that way? But maybe it kind of does. So 15 million brackets down with the Ohio State loss. 1 million. Oh, chat. Grizzlies versus. I was going to say Grizzlies versus Celtics. That game is over. But it was close in the fourth quarter, I guess, at one point. So League Pass needs to update here as we log in. 1.8 million when Troy lost. Ooh, kind of a sneaky. A lot of people relying on that upset. Wisconsin lost. 7.1 million brackets also lost at that time. And then 700,000 with Florida. Again, this is not tracking every game, but I guess the more significant one. 700,000. 40,000 with Siena going down. I guess maybe not all the significant bracket busters. Again, I'm assuming not a ton of people were picking Siena to win. But still, 40,000 perfect brackets went out when they did lose. And then McNeese State, 214,000. Hawaii, 57,000. North Dakota, 38,000. I guess other losses, 538,000. And then now we're down to 423. So Florida versus Prairie View. Oh, chat, one bracket is at risk. Hey, yo. So we are gonna be down to 422. It is what it is. Unless Prairie View makes a 40-point historic storm back, imagine then all of a sudden now we're down to one perfect bracket. This guy would have to win some of the prize money anyways, just for getting that right. But I mean, as a community, I would say sure, just let him just get his hands in their paws. However much you can carry, you can take away. But but 29 people left have Cal Baptist over Kansas. 394 would be remaining. But yeah, apparently there's 29 idiots out there left of almost smart, chat. Almost smart is what it is. 205. So yeah, the Miami, Missouri, the 710. Again, equal as you would imagine. I guess it's kind of fun that those picks, those games work out where the picks are even as well too. Again, there's not even like a 7, 10, 8, 9 where it's just like overwhelming. Like in the 5-12, there might be more overwhelming picks one way, but 15 people have Furman picked over UConn as well too. So there is going to be a bracket that goes down, I guess, with the games that are happening, as you would imagine. I guess that's not with the combo of games though, right? Because this 15 people that have picked, like that's just based on this UConn Furman game. So 13 of these Furman people might have, or like 3 of the Furman people might have Cal Baptist picked as well too. I guess we'll just have to keep the tracker live as we go along here. But yeah, 423 doesn't seem too bad. After round one's almost over, we're gonna have like maybe around 400 perfect brackets. But I guess no, because this Miami Missouri game is gonna kill a lot of them. So yeah, we're gonna have like 200 brackets left when we get done with the 7-10 matchup there. So that, I guess 400 to me would seem good. 200 not good. It is what it is. But 400 out of 26 million brackets is okay. But 200, I guess the percentage difference between 400 and 200 there is probably not a lot. But it does seem like it should be. Women's tournament, a little earlier on, of course. We're still in day one, but 679,000 out of 2.8 million. I mean, that's objectively way better. But again, we'll see what happens when the rest of the day plays out, the rest of round one plays out tomorrow. And there is immediately 3,000 brackets at risk with this Oklahoma-Idaho game taking place there. But that's still, going to keep you at around 675,000 after day one. So I'm assuming that's better than where we were at with the men's bracket as well after day one. But 423 is where we currently stand. But yeah, we got Raptors versus Denver on in the background to keep track. Oh, chat, the Battle of New York was close tonight. It is what it is. Hey, yo. Imagine the recast we'll be doing in a couple years when we're saying that. But for tonight, it's just basketball. The Battle of New York. Towns versus Josh Benoit. It'll be like, remember when the Battle of New York was just on the court? It is what it is. But no, shout out Mamdani. But what do we got? Towns with 26. I guess Brunson 17 tonight. OG with 16. And yeah, Josh Benoit is the standout player going toe-to-toe with the New York Knicks. Him and Zaire Williams balling out. Drake Powell, 2 points. Nolan Traore trying his best. 3 for 11. 11 points, managing to find 11 points somewhere. 7 assists, though. So that's kind of good. 4 turnovers. Still not necessarily terrible for the rookie. What do you say? The rookie assist-to-turnover ratio there. Still okay. And a steal and a block. So, I mean, he's getting into the stat sheet as well, too. It's just the offensive scoring part of it still needs to be developed as well. And, the Knicks are a deep team as well. So it's not like, it's not like it's totally crazy that our guy Sohan's not getting minutes on this New York team. But there was that, like, okay, he's going to New York. Is he going to, like, be the missing piece? Like, how good is he going to be on this team? So, hey, what are we saying about our guy Sohan? Shout out. Hopefully our guy Sohan is able to have some minutes. Hopefully it's not like Sohan game 5 of the finals against the Spurs revenge game, and now all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, there's that Sohan game you wished for. Now he's getting the ring for the other team. But, again, he can still be valuable, but it's not, I guess, again, the Spurs waived him as well, too. So there was, like, 8th pick in the draft. I mean, again, that's always just in general. I guess you don't expect every team to trade every draft pick that they have at some point for some future asset and just, like, keep the ball rolling with whatever that used to be. You cut your bait, you cut your losses, you move on. You just got to build your roster with the flexibility and the moves that you have, the pieces that you have. But regardless, there is that, okay, what could they have gotten there? But, still, we'll continue to track the minutes as they play out. Bridges 3 for 7, just not necessarily a lot of volume tonight. Towns 15 rebounds as well too. Shamet 1 for 5. So yeah, Bridges, I don't know, maybe he has fond memories of his old team. I mean, Bridges was playing his best basketball in Brooklyn, so you would think that maybe on the Brooklyn court he would be balling out, but again, maybe he just likes the Brooklyn Nets so much that he can't bring himself to score against this team. 7 shots for Mikal Bridges. I guess, was he 1 foul? He played 36 minutes, so it's not like he wasn't out there. Just, I mean, a little light work, I guess, tonight for the offensive game for our guy Bridges. Hey, yo, I'm not saying launch an investigation, but, Brooklyn, I imagine, did cover tonight. It is what it is. It seems a little surprising that would happen. Again, maybe you can't bet on the Josh Benoit performance, but who was guarding Josh Benoit? Do we need to look into that? I know he is a little guard forward type of guy there, so I'm sure the Bridges matchup happened a couple times. Yeah, Brooklyn 18.5 point underdog going into this game. So easily covered. I'm sure Mikal Bridges had plenty of room to work with, but maybe he was told that they bet the alternate spread and that they needed to, be a little closer than that. I don't know, really going for the odds. Who's to say? We hate to hurl accusations. As a matter of fact, IT cut that all out because I'm sure it'll be, legal drama down the road. But regardless, we need to understand why. Otherwise, Mikal Bridges, call in and explain yourself. What was going on? Seven shots offensively, and don't blame it on the system. don't blame it on the system because, hey, this is one thing you can't blame. Maybe you can blame it on the system. I don't know. But Bridges is, what are we saying here? Bridges is more talented than the than the New York Knicks system that doesn't allow him to get 7 buckets a game. He can still thrive despite that, I believe. I believe in the power of Mikal Bridges. It is what it is. So, I still think that, and he is, I don't know how much we've said this before, but I think he is the sneaky, title swing type of guy for him. I mean, you point to Towns as well too, and obviously Brunson, but I think that Bridges having that third guy or some sort of, third part of the team, because like for Oklahoma City, for example, they do have a 3-headed poster there, with Shea, Jalen Williams, and Chet. But maybe not every night, Chet, and especially, winning the title as well too last year, Chet has obviously, continued to get better. But it's not like every night maybe Chet is going to be the third scorer on that team per se, or the third best player, but there is like a third best thing going on there with their depth. And, sometimes a guy like Caruso and stuff can step up. So, maybe you think like, oh, do you need Alvarado to step up like Alex Caruso does, and that's why they're not going to win the title, because Alvarado's not Caruso. I mean, true. But regardless, Bridges, if he was, Bridges was, not to say that, Bridges can't get unlocked in the playoffs, but it just doesn't seem like, for some reason, this team, or, maybe he was just legitimately on a different heater back then. Who's to say? Like we've said in the, we sometimes you just have to be honest with the runs that the players have had. Not, and I say this respectfully, but not every great basketball player is going to have, 10 years, 7 years, 12 years of scoring 25 points a game. Maybe Bridges had a season and a half where he scored 25 points a game, and now he's more. But it doesn't necessarily seem like, and again, maybe I need to go watch more New York basketball. But it doesn't seem like he has been as impactful. And, I'm judging a lot off a 3 of 7 game, but it's just, how I feel about Bridges' season in general. It doesn't seem like he's been impactful this year in New York to the same level that he was, say, that Phoenix year, the year that Phoenix went to the finals. And again, maybe I'm judging him based off of the overall outcome of the season more so than just how he played. Like, his numbers this year might be better, but still, I don't know if he would have been a better overall player. He was in Phoenix, 13 a game, 14 a game. His best season, 21-22. I guess, that was the Giannis. No, Giannis was 21-20, and then Steph was 21-22. Here, let's double check. Western, 21-20 was the year that they made the finals. So Bridges had a better, I guess, accolades season the next year. Oh, because the next year is the year they won the 60 games. I always think they won the 60 games and went to the finals in the same year, but it was 2 separate years. And then Dallas got him in 7, and then Luka was in the finals. Hey, the underrated randomness of the NBA playoffs sometimes. Not always March Madness, but you do get your, fun results every now and then as well. But, I mean, you see his points per game is pretty close as, his best version there. And he was, again, at least that final season, he was 42% from the field, or from 3. And then the all-defense season, the 64-win season, 37% from the field. So that is close there. A little bit, but that mid-range, a little bit of a tinge lower from 2%. He was 62% from 3 the year they went to the finals. He's 57, so he's still pretty good as well. Free throws have never been as high, but was all-defense team. I'm not saying he's still not a great defender, but he hasn't necessarily been in the all-defensive conversation the same way, and that's not necessarily something that is conducive to, your role on the offensive. I mean, it is direct, your offensive role does impact that because it does, change your effort and your joy level, I guess, for the team. But, again, in theory, he can still be second team all-defense as well, too, regardless of what team he's on. And then, of course, the Brooklyn half a season here where he was 27 a game, 26 a game, 45, 37% from 3, 89% from the free throw line, and then 20 a game after that. But he was 43, 37 that year, and that was a full season as well. So maybe we should have, again, just kind of, you know, respectfully, you know, come to terms with the player that he is. So again, not to say that he's not a guy that can be a 27-point guy, because that's what he can be, but there is just a different step up level that he needs to be at for them to, I think, at least. And again, can they make the finals? Could they even win the finals with the way that their team kind of, you know, I don't want to say unconvincingly, but could they stumble into the finals, quote unquote? I guess, you know, obviously with Tatum back now, it is going to be a more difficult path. But yes, then New York Knicks could definitely win the finals this year with the way that, you know, best version of Mikal Bridges for this season. But there's even like we're saying, I think a little bit of a better version of him that would definitely obviously raise that confidence level. I don't know why we can't. Oh, advanced stats. Where's his PER? He's 15.6 this year. He was 16.4 the year they won the finals. Value over replacement player, pretty similar. So that is good there. The defensive box plus minus is back up this year. That is good. I guess the overall box plus minus is good. Win shares per 48 a little bit higher. So, you know, advanced stats in 2021 are just a little bit better. It is what it is. You know, he's not, again, so far off. I mean, you know, like we're saying, New York can win the finals. But whatever that degree of separation is there, that 1 point of PER is, like, it is something. There is something to that. And again, box score, like, it's not too far off. 3 points overall to 3.3. I guess he was a full point better on the offensive box score back then as well. And, you know, defensive box score it's the best of his career. So you do have to, or 1.9. Hey, yo, am I looking at the season below that? Or, oh, no, I'm looking at the season I have highlighted. Wait, yeah, 1.6 this year. So yeah, that's the highest for this season. The highest of his career. But yeah, I guess offensively, like we're saying as well, there is just that little bit of a step up that would definitely be like, oh yeah, you know, the Knicks should, because again, it's like the Pistons are right there as well too. Like, you know, does it feel like impact wise, you know, I guess here, let's look up Peyton Pritchard as well. Like, and Bridges again can definitely be better defensively and guard more spots on the court than Pritchard, so that is definitely important there. But yeah, Pritchard's PER this year is higher than Bridges, but his VORP and his box score plus minus are a little bit lower. His defensive, he's actually a negative defensive player on the box score, so that's not good. It is what it is. But regardless, offensively, like, he is a better player. So he needs to be like a Peyton Pritchard offensive player. Hey, yo. But better defensively, you know, we tread lightly. But regardless, like we're saying, it just, you know, Mikal Bridges is a talented basketball player. And we want to see him be the best version of himself, unless they get to the finals against the Spurs. And then it's okay if, you know, you decide you don't want to necessarily. But otherwise, you know, definitely, you know, again, strive to be the best version of yourself. But otherwise, yeah, shout out to Brooklyn for at least covering. It is what it is there. Hopefully, like we're saying, no investigations are launched as a result of, when you only win by 1 against Brooklyn, you have to be investigated for some kind of scandal. It is what it is. It's the only way that at this point you could have a competitive game against them. We got them, chat. We got them. It is what it is. Raptors. Oh, chat, we got to lock in. We're watching the score on the ESPN. We got the game going. It's a 1-point game. Speaking of Tim Hardaway Jr., still cooking all these years. Speaking of getting 20, he's got 20 tonight. Ties it up at 101. So we'll see. Closing time here. Closing time. We'll see who's able to, you know, have the... That's what we need to start calling these minutes, chat. It's closing time. It's not clutch minutes. It's closing time. Who's got the best closing time in the league? Oh, Cam Johnson. Getting a little careless with the dribble there. Almost the defender reaching around. Pause. And getting the takeaway. Call a foul? Is that an off-ball foul? Oh, Tim Hardaway Jr., the quick trigger. I mean, I don't know if he's ever thought about a shot in his life, but not that one. Hey, yo. Shout out. Have we given Tim Hardaway Jr. enough credit for taking the J.R. Smith belt of like the I guess J.R. Smith there's only one J.R. Smith. It is nobody will match the irrational confidence of J.R. Smith, but Tim Hardaway Jr. is pretty close. I will tell you. And there is like a stylistic, like there's almost a similar way they sway on their 3-point shots as well. Like the amount at which they sway, and then they sway into a narrow base, if that makes sense. So their legs will like drift out in front of them and then kind of close. Versus some guys, will have their legs will drift apart, if that makes sense. Pause. When they shoot the 3-pointers. I mean, when like Steph, some guys it doesn't matter. It just depends on what needs to happen for balance, just kind of whatever I guess happens. And sometimes it's more about aligning the upper body and the hip than it is like, knees and feet. But sometimes like J.R. Smith, it seemed like would always get narrow on his jump shots. And Tim Hardaway Jr. always kind of does the same thing as well too. But regardless, I guess, that's the player comp tonight for Tim Hardaway Jr. is J.R. Smith. I mean, there's definitely some, they played in the league for quite a few years at the same time. So not to say that you can't comp guys that way, but, doesn't necessarily feel 100% like, a Kobe MJ passing of the torch situation. I don't know though. Do we need to figure out more NBA torches to pass, more player lineages? I mean, that's just NBA draft comps as well too. But again, sometimes the career comp obviously plays out maybe a little bit differently. Like, I don't know if you would have been comping Tim Hardaway Jr. to J.R. Smith back in the day. Let's see. Maybe, speaking of Gemini, maybe you can pull up a draft report from back in the day for research purposes. Let's see. Draft comparison for our guy Tim Hardaway Jr. from back in the day. Often compared to Brandon Rush or Alec Burke. Hey, yo. I think he's had a better career than Brandon Rush. Brandon Rush is definitely I think a little bit bigger, so I don't know if he could have taken take a guy in a post, a little bit more versatile defensively, but Tim Hardaway Jr. may be a better athlete than Brandon Rush. I don't know. Alec Burke, definitely smoother athlete than Alec Burke. Alec Burke, too herky-jerky to be Tim Hardaway Jr. They don't really play the same way. It is what it is. But here we go, NBADraft.net. Let's go back to the Tim Hardaway Jr. draft profile. It is what it is. I mean, shout out. I think at this point, you'd have to say that pick is great. I almost said Wesley Snipes. Wesley Pearson, not Wesley Johnson either. Aaron Afwalo as well. Afwalo is actually a pretty good comp, though I do think Tim Hardaway Jr., quicker decision maker with his shots than Aaron Afwalo, maybe. I don't know. Doesn't have great foot speed, which limits his ISO driving ability. I mean, his foot speed is how quickly can I get set into this jump shot is really what it is. I guess multiple, updated scouting reports there. But here we go. Athleticism 8, size 8. Whoa, ayo. Defense 7, strength 7, quickness. Leadership 8. Oh, 10 out of 10 for Tim Hardaway. What are they taking away leadership points for? They're like, he's kind of a good leader. But jump shot, 9 out of 10. NBA ready, 8. Ball handling, 7. Potential, 8. Passing, 7. Intangible, 8. Overall score, 92. 16th on the big board. 19th overall in the 2013 mock draft. Do we have to go back to the 2013 draft and figure out if Tim Hardaway Jr. was a top 15 player? I imagine... Is there 15 players in a draft class? I can't imagine there's any draft class in NBA history ever where there's 15 players better than Tim Hardaway Jr. Hey, yo. We're talking about one of the great eighth men in NBA history. I tell you what. And, has a chance to have finals impact again for the Denver Nuggets this year. 2013 draft, okay. That is the Giannis class, so we are going to have some names at the top that are going to maybe be a little bit higher than Tim Hardaway Jr. there. Let's see. Where did he end up actually getting drafted? 24th, and to the New York Knicks as well. But he's 12th in value over replacement player in this class. So you've got Giannis, Gobert, McCollum, Plumlee, Olynyk, Steven Adams, Porter Jr., Oladipo, Nerlens Noel, Contavious Caldwell Pope, and Gorgie Jang. for the guard comparisons for those guys, Oladipo was literally a top 5 MVP vote one year, so maybe his upside is a little bit higher. And Kentavious Caldwell-Pope has actually won a couple of titles, so maybe his consistency is a little bit more evened out. But weirdly enough, McCollum is third in this list in value over replacement player. I'm assuming he's third in overall points scored as well too. Tim Hardaway Jr. is fourth. McCollum's actually second in points scored. I guess Gobert is going to be a little bit lower there. He's 11K to McCollum 16K. But you go Giannis, McCollum, Schroeder, and Hardaway Jr. as your lead scorers in this draft. So Schroeder a better player than Hardaway Jr.? Yikes. Schroeder is a pretty good defender as well. But Hardaway Jr. did have the VORP. And the box score, they're both negative on the box score, but Tim Hardaway Jr. is slightly less negative than Dennis Schroeder. He cost his team slightly fewer points than Dennis Schroeder when he's on the court. Dennis Schroeder does, shoot the ball a little bit better, though Tim Hardaway Jr. does from three. I mean, it's close. It is close, but I honestly think you could make a case for Tim Hardaway Jr. over Dennis Schroeder, and I think you could kind of sneaky make a case for either of these guys over McCollum. With all due respect to McCollum, I mean, McCollum's consistency and I think just maybe like it feels like if Schroeder's having a bad day, like he's going to be committed to finding himself back to having a good day, if that makes sense. And McCollum might actually be able to drift out of a game where it is beneficial at times, where maybe, again, like Schroeder and Hardaway Jr. don't do that. And then I guess Caldwell Pope down a couple spots is a guy that, again, can have the defense for, I guess, we're leaving Oladipo off. But point being, I think if you were drafting, you could make a case for Hardaway over McCollum. All due respect to McCollum, it is what it is. Hardaway's our guy. Shout out. And, shout out to Trey Burke as well, too. But Hardaway, the best NBA career of that group. It is what it is. Stauskas included. Mitch McGary included. Mitch McGary. Probably the worst NBA career of that group. It is what it is, unless we're forgetting some details about somebody else. Okay, Furman versus UConn. Oh, it is close. 4 minutes left in the first half. 28-31. So there we go, chat. They're making us watch the entire day. It is what it is. Furman maybe has a chance to provide the drama. I mean, we definitely have to switch. Florida's up 79-33. They may be slightly off of the 120 pace at this point, but I don't know if it's too far off. Can they be the team to get to 110? Oh, speaking of basketball, Joannaman on BET. Or the Pied Slamma Jamma 30 for 30 on ESPN2. Hey, it's going to be good sleeping tonight, chat. A 30 for 30 or Joannaman. Infinite choices. This Furman UConn second half as well, too. 3 minutes left. Caravan returning from a couple of national title teams. Our guys solo ball, trying to carry the legacy of some of these other great guards. Another three from Furman. Oh, chat. It might be on the table. T House with 10 points for Furman. Shout out. T is just the initial. His name's not T. It could be T, though. T-E-E, like T Higgins. T House. Who's to say? But, we're learning about Furman in real time. The Furman Furries, what is their mascot? Let's hope not. Caravan. Who hit the floater there? Is that Caravan? I don't think it was. I think it was somebody else. But 35. Mullins. Oh, Mullins has been good for UConn as well, too. 8 points tonight. Doing okay. And we were mentioning, who was the defensive team we were mentioning earlier? Oh, Gonzaga. With that, quote-unquote best defense that Mark Few has had. UConn, probably not the best defense that Dan Hurley has had, but maybe they don't necessarily, dominate every team that they play in the tournament. They might have to win closer games, and they're not a team. I guess we have them, we jinxed them. We picked them to go to the finals, so they have to be the team that loses early, I guess. They're literally all of the 1 and 2 seeds have won so far. Again, we're going to give Florida the win. It is what it is. No disrespect to we even forgot who they're playing at this point. No disrespect to Prairie A&M, but we are just going to go ahead and say it's safe to assume that Florida is going to close that one out. But UConn, and not to say that again, a 1 or 2 seed, they don't have to lose every year, but it does seem like it's in the cards this year. It was so heavy last year, that we do have to have some kind of March Madness moment at some point. Maybe, and who's it again? Maybe like a 6 seed makes the Final Four. Like again, if Kentucky makes the Final Four as a 7 seed, they get past Iowa State. I guess that would mean they get past Michigan. Oh no, hey yo, it is what it is. But if something like that were to happen, then yes, that would be March Madness. But we don't see that in the first round quite yet. But in terms of first round March Madness, like we're saying, Furman has a chance to join High Point. Can they get us to 1.5 March Madness points? High Point only a half a March Madness point. They will have to, I guess, win in round 2 to get. But if they win in round 2, that's probably a full March Madness points. So then they're at 1.5. So maybe they need to win by a lot and get 1.5 points, get to 2 for a nice round number. But Golden State versus Detroit. Ayo, do we have to recap these NBA games here? Was there something we gotta keep an eye on this Furman UConn game for this first half here? See if Furman's gonna actually compete. And I guess 2 minutes is probably not gonna fall behind too much, but you can't let UConn, I guess, go on a little bit of a run. Have we rebounded any? We haven't really. We're still at 18.6%. It is what it is. 22.4 million. Oh, chat. We are at the bottom. Pause. It is what it is. Did it say that there was 26 million brackets? Oh, chat. That is tough. Is 22 million just in this first take group? I guess, or is that overall? Oh, chat. We might be in the last place in this first take group. I forgot about that. How many people are in this? Oh, chat. 600,000 people are in this group, and we're ranked 500,000th. Oh, no. That's not good. Stephen A is cooking. Oh, man, 220. I guess they just have him listed there. Oh, no, he's 100,000. Is 506 over 612, chat. Tune out now. Tune out now. This is our worst bracket performance ever. Hey, yo. Local Luke is winning right now in the first take group with 280. So he has got... Does he have Furman picked here? No, he does have UConn picked. Does he have... Oh, he has Duke over UConn. Purdue over Arizona. Local Luke! Okay, luckily he has Michigan, I guess, the ultimate revenge over Purdue, it looks like. But Michigan over Houston in the national championship game. I mean, we'll take a win over anybody, but, that'd be a fun game as well, too. I mean, emotionally, in terms of the national title game, I guess, if we play Ohio State maybe, or Duke, just getting a win over Duke at any point is going to be fun. But yeah, that would be, and they did get us earlier in the year, so that'd be revenge as well. I think Wisconsin, or was it Nebraska? Maybe Nebraska was the team that got us as well. So Nebraska, we could get some we could get revenge against Nebraska if it was Michigan, Nebraska in the national title. But yeah, at least we like that Local Luke is thinking, his national champion there. But hey, yo, what a first round for Local Luke. Hey, yo, where did he go wrong? Is Local Luke going to have a perfect first round? Wait a second. This guy's a wizard. He need Local Luke. Call in. Hey, yo. So he's got Kansas over Cal Baptist. That's good. Okay, he had TCU over Ohio State. Sure. Louisville. And again, you're like, so you pick the high seeds. Hey, he was smart enough to do it. Shout out to Local Luke. Yeah, UConn over Furman is the one part right now that is looking a little shaky. And they have Florida over Iowa, Nebraska over Vanderbilt. Hey, yo, so I was looking at the second round, but I don't think he's missed a first-round game so far. Idaho did not upset his bracket there. Looking good on the Midwest side of things as well, too. St. Louis, Texas Tech, yes, sir. Alabama. They do have Missouri picked over Miami. Local Luke, the perfect first round is in jeopardy. Imagine, chat, a perfect first round. I guess, this would be included in that 420. 20 is going to get cut in half, depending on what, regardless of what happens. So we'll see if Local Luke is on the winning side of that game. But that is the only game so far that is right there. So unless Local Luke is an AI bot, I'm sure that he is nervously watching that game. And I'm sure local Luke is betting as well, too. But yeah, obviously, we like the guy that picked the perfect first round, to have a favorable national championship pick there. And imagine, Michigan national championship game in the Colts Stadium is a fun, wrinkle as well, too, for the Rem and Sam fandom of it all. But yeah, we got Duke over TCU. Just to see what local Luke is looking like for the second round. What can we expect tomorrow, according to local Luke, the man who almost picked the perfect first round? We're gonna say almost, so that way we're not gonna guarantee anything bad happens there for his picks. But he's got, I guess, Duke over TCU. Nothing too crazy. They bounce back, maybe dominant win. Michigan State over Louisville. Looks like the high seed dominance continues there as well. UConn over UCLA, so they do get past Furman. In this one, they are up 7 going into half. So a little cushion there. Maybe that restored confidence helps them pull away. But again, maybe they just don't necessarily win by 35 in this game. Maybe it is, slow grind, 12-point win, something, reasonable like that. But we got Florida over Iowa would be the next game. Yeah, Nebraska over Vanderbilt, like we said. Illinois over VCU. I guess they have Houston over Illinois. Then Houston over Florida. Yeah, Houston over Texas A&M. Iowa State over Kentucky. Sorry to our guy OA. Virginia over Tennessee. Alabama over Texas Tech. Michigan over St. Louis. Purdue, Gonzaga, Arkansas, and Arizona. So, hey, local Luke, again, maybe he wasn't thinking, and just picked all the high seeds. But no, yeah, again, he picked like the low seeds when it did matter. So the rule of thumb is don't force an upset. If you think the upset is really there, then pick it. Like, again, that's the high point. That's that South Florida. They were close, but, we were thinking South Florida as well, too. And we did have that Alabama game looked at. I know that, again, they pulled away, but I think the first half was close there. So it's like, a reasonable VCU over North Carolina, very a pick that you definitely believe in for sure when you're making that pick. So if the tournament's going to be, top heavy, then it's going to be top heavy. That's the lesson, chat. We're not nothing wrong with a top heavy tournament. Hey, yo, the parting words from the Rem and Sam pod on a Friday night. Another lovely Friday night live stream. But yeah, we'll be back Sunday, of course, following along with round 2 action as well. Oh, shout out to Denver as well. Oh, Pirtle at the free throw line, missing game, potential get it closer free throws. Had a chance to get it to 1 possession there, down 4. Could have cut it to 3, but he missed. It is what it is. I guess we didn't finish, the NBA side of things for tonight, just to make sure we're not. Did anybody score 84? We have to double check. Okay, Danis Jenkins 22, Jalen Duren 23, getting close. Obviously, as a team, Bam. He knows how hard it is to score 80 points as a team. It is. Bam just sitting here watching college basketball. Like, I literally score more points than all these teams. I could score. How many points would Bam score in a college game these days? I guess another question for the chat GPT. How many points would 05? Who's to say? Pirtle up to 23. Jamal Murray, though, 30-6. I mean, Jamal Murray might be having like a first, second team first team, maybe a little rich, but a second team all NBA season? Do we have to start putting together a list? I guess games played. Hey, yo, the games played, chat. The silly games played. Obviously, it would benefit our guy Wemby because he might win the MVP of the league. I guess we didn't even mention the game winner. Hey, yo, just setting up Iguodala for the ISO, not even taking him to the basket, but just that little dribble, sidestep, pull-up jumper. Speaking of our guy Durant here in the background, a Durant-esque pull-up jumper for the win, clinching the playoff spot, the comeback pause, the 50 wins. Chad, it's like old times looking at that Spurs record. But Nickeil Alexander-Walker, continues his fun campaign this year. 20 tonight, 6 for 12. Recherche, 16, 6 for 8. March Madness legend Zach Recherche. That's right? He was no, I don't think so. I don't think so. But number 1 overall pick. So ayo, there is something there. But tournament legend Buddy Hield. Anyways, 2 points. So shout out, great tournament memories. And I guess, do we have to go back and look at Durant's tournament run? I honestly don't know how far that Texas team made it in the playoffs. But Svengun and Richer were teammates in college, right? Hey, yo. But Amen Thompson, 14, and Reed Shepard, 14. Hey, yo, we're seeing double chat. Amen Thompson and Reed Shepard, the same player. 14 points, 5 for 10 from the field. It is what it is. We've always said that there is identical games between those guys there. And then Tari Eason with, his nice little 10 points off the bench. So, yeah, Jalen Johnson, 14. I guess, Kispert, our guy Kispert. Ayo, that's right. He's not on the Hawks anymore. Or he's not on the Wizards. He's on the Hawks. 1 for 6. He was dragging him down. It is what it is. So, not able to keep up with the Rockets. The Rockets are going to, of course, need to, do you say turn a corner, but they're going to need to put their foot on the gas a little bit as they hit the home stretch here and head the playoffs for, at least the fandom to have that extra level of confidence in them. But, Amen Thompson, 14 points, getting there. Reed Shepard, I think that's a good repeatable game for him, but he could be, 20 in the game, in that 20 point in the playoffs as well, too. Tatum, 13, 3 for 15 from the field. I mean, I guess it's difficult to say, like, do we expect him to adjust? I guess yes. Pause. He was so good in that first, so good, but he was good enough in that first game. You're like, okay, there is a, he's backness to him that he's not going to necessarily need to, be super rusty, but he has not necessarily been, 28 points a game, Tatum. And 0 assists tonight is kind of crazy as well, too. In 31 minutes, 2 fouls. So 3 turnovers, just kind of a wonky game for him. The other parts of his game have been good, but yeah, it's not like he has been, again, like, first team All-NBA Tatum per se, but you're still taking him back. You're still, Jaylen Brown's still awesome with 30 tonight as well, too. So if this is Jaylen Brown's team for the year, once again, hey, yo, maybe we look back and say Jaylen Brown was actually the best player on the Celtics. Who's to say? But Omax getting some run for Memphis, 14 tonight. Taylor Hendricks, 12. It's like, hey, let's see if any of these guys still got some stock. We got Giroux with 13. Tyler Burton with 23. Of course, it's the one guy that you're like, wait a second, who? 12, Villanova grad. So I guess, from a blue blood, hanging out with some of these other high level, I guess, Taylor Hendricks from UFC, Omax is from Marquette. Marquette's kind of a blue blood, right? A B tier blue blood. Hey, yo. I guess, not trying to, put everybody into a tier there. Walter Clayton, 1 for 7. Hey, yo. It is what it is. But, yeah, and then what was the other one here for tonight? Like we said, we already mentioned the one in progress, but I thought there was one more final score here for Blazers Timberwolves. Klingon, speaking of UConn, speaking of March Madness, Klingon 21-12, getting the win there, and what he can provide to the team, if he is, and A.O. Grant with 26 as well too, is definitely a different look because it's not like Ayton was bringing this, with all due respect to Ayton last year. There is like a two-way rebounding sort of thing that, the best version of Klingon would hopefully continue to provide. So that scoring, being there a little bit as well too is encouraging. Kamara, 2 for 7 tonight, but, Grant doing his thing. And, again, shout out for at least Scoot finding some production. But you could still, see him taking that step forward there. And, yeah, I guess no Anthony Edwards tonight is going to, definitely make it a different story. But still, you got Randall holding him to 6 for 16. And Dosunmu has, been a real piece. I keep forgetting they have Dosunmu, but every time I check the box score, I'm like, that's right. They have him. And I think that is tough for the playoffs. Again, you get Edwards back, and at least that's a rotation guy. At least that's another rotation guy that you can at least, again, just, something. And Anderson as well, too, has not necessarily, it seemed like he was being buried on the Jazz there for a second, or the Grizzlies or wherever he was at. Hey, yo, where was Kyle Anderson from? But it seemed like he was being buried because, he was too good for a second. Like, he's actually going to, like, affect this team in winning. And he is, I guess, positive in the plus minus when he's out there. But his offense hasn't necessarily, like, totally been there as well, too. So you could even see, like, you know, an efficient playoffs from him really make this Minnesota team scary. Bones Highland, hey, yo, 17 points. We were just watching that iconic clip of him back in the day, cooking that guy in the park. It is what it is. But yeah, like we said, we'll be back Sunday. More March Madness, round 2 recap. Good luck to Furman in the second half. Good luck to Miami, Missouri. Good luck to local Luke. Hopefully his bracket stays perfect. And we'll be back with updates later. Enjoy your weekend. Follow us here on the YouTube. Send us a message over on the Instagram pod. Rem and Sam, the DMs are open. Yeah, like I said, stay tuned.